come on. Right, I can see a few of you guys coming on now. Hi there. Hope everyone's good. The Ashby here, Motocross and Speedway Memories. Hopefully you can hear me all good. Maybe a couple of you can comment and make sure. Yo, Mr. Wheeler, my man, how's it going? Merry Christmas to my Portuguese friends. Woo, getting naughty tonight with Nev and Coops. I'll have my This Is Your Life book out later on as well to sort out the reunion booking in and all that. We might even try putting the link of this live out as well in the comments so you can click on it and get some of you guys to come in live and ask a question. So I might try that. My man, Mr. Adam Wheeler. Yeah, I'm just looking at a couple of comments there. Calling you Wheeler then, Adam. Adam Winslet, should I say? Thanks to my buddy Adam Winslet. Good buddy. Come on in, come on in. We might try a first time clicking the link of this interview into the comments and try and get some of you to come on live in the video and ask Nevin and Coop some questions. Yo, how's it going, Russell? Right, a few of you coming up look, on the screen like that. Hey, buddy. All that, look, not registered, got me, Lee. So basically all you need to do, those guys that are coming up, you should come up like that so I can see who you are commenting. There's one there. Hi, Lee. So basically, before you come in on Facebook, before you just click straight onto the video, there's a little link on the post. If you click on that link, it gives your Facebook permission to use your profile, basically, so I can see your name like that. Hi, Ian. Merry Christmas to you, buddy. Hello, Mr. Mark Thorpe Mead. How's it going? Woo! Get on the side of Kev. See you, Robin, on YouTube. How's it going? Mr. Baker, how's it going? Write it, buddy. There you go. My missus has put the link there, look, in the comments, so you can click on it. Just register your name. Hi, Alfie. How's it going? Merry Christmas, buddy. Martin Neary, hope you're feeling better soon, buddy. Hope you're all good. Merry Christmas, Mr. Booker. Bonjour, Mr. Spender. So, I'll get my man in a second. Just wanted to say big thanks to my man, Lee Owen, from Owen Developments. As you can see, I always do that and you touch the wrong side, and you can see him behind there. You can check him out on www.owendevelopments.co.uk. Also, thanks to Mr. Stefan Evans, who gets me some contacts with obviously the MX riders, and you can check out his website for his gin on www.s72gin.com as well. Mr. Heesman, we've got Timbo on as well, who's flat out, weighs about 3.5 ounces, fit as you like, ready to go flat out. Woo! Flat out on the TM, in the Masters and the Acerbis. Yeah, baby. There he is, Mr. Winslet. I don't know what you were writing there, but my man, Mr. Winslet, big dog, my good buddy 10-4, he suggested that we try and get people in on the old put the link to this interview on the comments and then basically get you guys to come in. So that should be fun, eh? Like I don't know what I'm doing already. Oh, Merry Christmas, Fiona. All at the ranch, MX track, beautiful. A proper happy Christmas as well, a proper one from Mr. Jeffrey. Lawrence Hare, how's it going, Lowell? Hope you're good. Hope Stu's good as well. Bonjour, my man. Safe Swansea MX. Let's get that going, flat out. I'm not sure what Timbo's wrote there, but Merry Christmas, Dean. Right, so I better send Mr. Bradshaw will be wondering why I haven't sent him the link. Right, let's get him that sent over. I'll get him the sent over, and then we're going to get the man, Mr. Cooper's going to be on as well. Let's get rid of that. Right. So, yeah, so 4 times British champion, Mr. Paul Cooper's going to be coming on during the interview as well, which would be cool. He said he's having a couple of drinks as well, so I thought I'd better break out the Scrum Bro. I don't want to wind Mr. Heisman up there, who's on the major fitness regime. He's been on it for about 2 years now. I ain't had nothing to eat. This is dodgy. I'll be asking Winslet to take over the interview. So I've got my This Is Your Life black book here as well to go through. Look at that. To go through all the bookings and signing on. So I've got all that to go through after as well. Once I've spoke to Nev in Coops, I can see Nev's down there waiting. Can you hear me all right? Well, I'll bring you in a second, buddy. Right then, people, my man's here. So we'll get that underway and we'll get this going. And here we go then. Get into that then, won't I? Here he is. Let's bring him in. Nev.
What's up? How are you, mate? Yeah, cheers. Dude, I'm a little bit harder than you, but we both on that hoggle, so it's all good.
I've had a little chat to Coops before you come on. I'm like, no, I'm not competing with you two on drinks. No chance.
Oh, no, Coops already drinking. For sure, Coops has had a couple of gins by now. No doubt.
Ooh, not sure what he's going to say when he comes on.
I'm quite excited to hear what he's got to say.
Yeah, 100%. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Good. Just trying to wind down a little bit. Been with my job, we've started pre-book season about 3 weeks ago, so just kind of winding down to Christmas and so being flat out, trying to fit a bit of riding in, trying to fit a bit of training in, trying to lose weight, all the good stuff. You know how it is.
Exactly that. I was going to ask you what you've been up to lately. Is that right? You're involved with Fox? You can let us know, all that. What's going on?
Yeah, so actually coming up to a year now. So January this year, I started a job with Fox just as a sales rep. So since obviously racing professionally, then went to coaching for about 4 or 5 years. And then, so not my first job, because before I came to England, I had a job in South Africa for about a year in between school and coming over here. But yeah, first kind of go in the real world, as they say, for a while, eh?
That's it. So how long has it been? I know obviously you've really not really stopped riding, but since like pro wise, how long has it been since you've sort of stepped back from the pro racing?
I'd say 16 was probably my last year pro. That was the year when I was racing in South Africa. I was getting paid a little bit to race in South Africa. I was getting a little bit paid to race in the UK. So that was the last year that was my job. Like I wasn't coaching, like riding motorbikes was how I made my money. And then from 17 onwards, it's been just like my passion, my hobby more than, it's not a job. I don't get paid to do it. So, just can't step away, dude. Like literally I've tried and I feel guilty for still riding, but the buzz I get from riding and the feeling I get after I ride a motorbike, I just feel like myself again. It's something that I want to try. Like as long as I'm enjoying it, it's something that I look forward to. There's not besides like my kids and stuff. It's one thing that does kind of keep me going day to day. So
yeah. So it's obviously cool to still be in the industry, working for Fox. Who doesn't like Fox? It's always been cool. So it must be cool for you to work for them as well.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Like good brand, nice to stay in the industry. I think when you're trying to learn a new business and people know who you are, it's a lot easier. Like obviously when you learn and you make a few mistakes and stuff, and people have been super cool with me with that. So Really appreciate that. And also, I think I know what works and what doesn't work, and people really trust my word. Like I'm coming into my third pre-book season now, and people seem to trust what I say. I think I've still got a good eye for what works good and what doesn't work good. And then just being current, like I think I know at the moment what's good. Again, also, like I really want to try have a bit more involvement in Fox. Like I really want to try bring like a youth program on and bring the kids on a bit. Have a little bit more say in that. So, but baby steps at the minute. Just obviously, I'm just a sales rep at the minute. Learning the product, learning the company, but I've got big plans in the future. Like I've got some good ideas that I hope can come to fruition. Like I really hope I can be like an influence in the brand to kind of get back into the core sport. So, but as I said, baby steps. We're just taking small steps at the minute. So
that's it. That's cool. I can't stop watching your videos, to be honest, on social media.
Dude, I feel bad for putting videos on all the time, but I love it. I love taking videos, like it, and not of myself, even other people, dude. Like I could go to the practice track and not even ride. Like me and Jordan Booker, like I love going with Jordan. I love seeing something like a kid that can ride a motorbike really cool and making like cool content. I just think it's an awesome thing, and also for people to see. And I was saying to someone, like one of the reasons why I like to do the videos is because when I was a kid in South Africa growing up, I always wondered what it was like in Europe and wherever, and I've been lucky enough to travel. So every time I go to a new country, I'll make a video of where I am. And it just kind of like, it's something I always wanted. So I think it's cool to kind of like when I'm in South Africa, I make videos, like when I go, like whatever I do, like tracks in the north, tracks in the south, wet tracks, dry tracks. And, I've got a good following from South Africa and some other countries as well. So it's quite cool for people to see, like, obviously motocross is different in every country that you're in. So it's cool for people to kind of get like that vibe of like how tracks are different, and the following is cool. Like it actually blows my mind. Like the following I have, like I'm 38 years old, I ride for fun, and the following I have on Instagram is like it's mental. Like I'm just an old dude that's riding two strokes and stuff. Like I've got, I think besides Tommy and one or two other guys, like more than most of the professional racers. Which is and just love for it, dude. Like literally, I dig doing it, so I do it. And it's cool to kind of have that interaction with the fans still, like through such a long period. Obviously I started here in 2004. And we're a long way down the line, and I've probably got a better fan base now and more interaction with the fans now with the social media platforms that we have than I did when I was finishing top 3 in British Championships.
But it's so cool now to have the social medias, and people can literally see like in seconds what you guys are doing and stuff like that. It's great for everyone, and the videos are superb.
Dude, it's awesome.
I see them every day.
I love it. I ride every day. I don't ride every day. Like I work a full-time job. I ride as much as I can, and when it's the summertime, I ride at nighttime. But I don't ride every day. But I do, like, I get some clips that I kind of store up, so when the time's right, I hit them up. But the clips are cool. I dig. It's something that I dig, and even like Instagram in general. Like I really like looking at reels and people that just do cool stuff. Like I really feel off good energy and good vibes, and like when you see like some of the mountain bike stuff, and people going to cool places, and just there's so much cool stuff out there in life that you can do, and did you just capture it? Like now you can capture it and show the world what cool stuff there is out there, and I find it inspiring. I really do find it sounds quite cheesy and it sounds quite shallow, but it inspires me, dude. Like I really find inspiration from it.
You can see, like you say, you can see it's your passion, mate, as well. I think when people see you enjoying your passion and enjoying it, everyone smiles watching it and all. That's very cool. The banter started already. The banter started already.
You can see me. I'm in a hotel drinking out of a plastic cup.
Getting all the finer things. Only practicing twice a day, Mark McGill.
He's just jealous that I go smoke his guys at Farley Castle. McGill's just bitter. That's all that is.
I love it.
McGill, I want you to come practice with me, dude. I'll show you how to do some starts and not get fined for it. Because every time he does it, he gets a fine for it, and I managed to skip the fine.
So you know what? Some cool stuff. Obviously, I noticed in the last year or so. I see you obviously riding the AMCA championship as well. That's very strong championship now. There's a lot of guys there that could that could be in the British Championship, and they ride there. It's quite a professional setup now, the AMCA championship, isn't it? Did you enjoy that, Nev?
No.
No,
I didn't know. Like, it's something
what,
I don't want to
seriousness
go.
or
It's something I don't want to go too hard into because,
yeah.
like, dude, it's a super professional run thing. Like, it blows my mind how professional it is. Like, all the teams are professional. Every
Yep.
class is full. The tracks are good. They run it properly. Like, you get a lot of riding in. Like, you get 3 motors in. But there's just something about it. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I rode my ass off this year just to win that championship. I didn't want to be there. Like, JP came with me and it made it cool. And there's a few other people that we bounced with that made it okay to be there. Yep. But you know, when you just don't feel comfortable, I just never ever, like, in the 2 seasons I've done it, and I got lots of friends, you know, like I, you know, vibe with everyone, you know, but something just seems to be missing for me at that. I don't know, you know, like when I see Christian ride, like, I think I vibe with watching guys ride that, like, I aspire to. Like, when Watley was there, I dig to watch him ride.
Yeah.
Kieran Banks, I love to watch him ride. Who else did? Luke Hawkins, like, those guys, like, I dig to watch them ride. But it's just like a very different scene. And I got to the point this year, like, I was super stoked on how me and Shane battling for that championship. I feel like I got to a very high level of riding again. Like, me and him kind of separate ourselves from the rest of the field. And a lot of the time, we had quicker times than the MX1 boys. So that side of it I was pumped on. But what I wasn't so stoked on was, like, I don't want to ride to that level anymore, if that makes sense. Like, dude, like, it hurts, man. Like, I get to like 12 minutes and I'll be battling with Shane and leading, and I just can't see like the last 8 or 9 minutes through, you know. So that was frustrating, but I can't put my finger on it what it is. Like, something, especially the first year. The first year I really struggled to find what was missing. Something was missing massively. And then the second half of the season, I got it dialed and won a lot and came up 6 points short that season. Then kind of going into the second season that we did it this year on the 252 stroke, it was, dude, like, it was a battle from the first moto of the season until the 27th moto of the season to win a championship. And I'm like, you know, and I got caught up in it, and I was kind of like, you know, it's not my job anymore, you know, and I'm taking it like it's my job and my life depends on winning this championship. And I kind of went away from it being fun. Like, it was like expected. And like, a few times I had conversation with JP and I was like, dude, I just cannot do it. I'm riding as best as I can. Like, I cannot go anymore. And it was always like second, first, you know. But we managed to keep it tight, you know. Like, Shane would have a few bad races and stuff. And then I'd go to like a UK Evo race and be like, right, that's me. I love this. This motocross is awesome. Then I'd go to an MX Bridgestone Masters. This is sick. Then Friday Castle, he's like, this is amazing. So for some reason, I can't put my finger on what doesn't gel with myself in that. And as I say, dude, I've got nothing but positive to say about the AMCA. I think it's an awesome series. They do a good job. But just something just doesn't vibe with me. So I made it at the end of the year. I got to the end of the year and I was completely fried, dude. Like, more than I've ever been in my life, trying to win an AMCA championship. You know, spending my own money to go race and not enjoying it. And I was like, nah, that's not cool. So at the end of the year, I was actually kind of bummed, and I was like, I can't be asked to this anymore. And then a few weeks passed and I kind of reset. And then I just changed my path for next season to kind of, you know, just absolutely do stuff I enjoy doing.
So it's more like the serious side of it that you don't need.
Yeah, like, I don't need to be trying to win championships anymore. Like, I think that's what
it's hard.
Like, fuck, dude, like, trying to win a championship over 27 motos. You know, I've got a vivid memory on the third round. Like, when things started coming, like, I started getting better and better, and I was watching the pin on the start gate, and I've got a vivid memory of thinking, I don't want to go to 100% when this pin drops, and that's what it's going to take for me to win this race. Like, I can finish second quite easily, but for me to win this race, it's going to take everything I have, and I don't feel comfortable doing that. And it was kind of like, that was the second round, dude, and I saw the whole season out. And we were only like 12 points down going into the last round, you know. So some parts I'm proud. Like, as I said before, I'm proud that we got to that level of riding again, which was quite cool. But now motocross needs to be fun for me, you know, like, whatever I do. That's why I like racing the 125s and stuff, because I actually enjoy that.
Is that your plan for next year? I know you mentioned to me when I asked you about coming to my meeting that you got the Masters on. Are you doing that series? What's your plans for next year?
Yeah, so, dude, I've actually got I'm in a really cool position at the minute where I can do what I want. And actually, just lately, I've tied in with Jeff Walker from SR75 Suzuki. And he's also, like, on a good vibe. He just wants to do cool stuff. So the only full championship that I'm doing will be the Bridgestone 125. I'm going to be doing that on my own. I've got a bike to that on my own. But then with Jeff on the Suzuki team, we're going to be doing the EMX Open at Medley Basin in the open class.
Nice.
We're going to do the first round of the AMCA Championship.
Yep.
So basically, we're just trying to prove that the Suzuki bike, which I believe it is still a good bike. So first round of that, we're going to do one British Championship race on a RM250 in the MX2 class.
Nice.
We're going to do one Bridgestone. We're going to do one MX Nationals. We're going to do the Custer's Gore Supercross. So basically just cool stuff. You know, where there's no pressure. We're not chasing a championship anywhere. We just want to go have a good time, enjoy riding our bikes, and get exposure for everyone that's helping myself and his team, you know.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, and I think it'll be cool. Like,
yeah,
I'm so looking forward to racing those 125s. Like, I cannot, you know, it's crazy. I'm 38 years old now, and I feel like I cannot wait to go race 125s with 17-year-old kids, you know. Like, it's quite funny.
Yeah, I think who doesn't like a two-stroke ring in the neck out of a 125? That's all I rode anyway, but it's mint, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the best. No, like, hands down, it's the most, like, if you're from our era and grew up riding them, it's the best fun you can have. I think if you from this new era where, you know, you learned on four strokes.
Yeah.
I was actually riding with, dude, like, just while we were on it, like, a funny thing. I was riding with Coops on Sunday, and I was riding my 96 RM125, and it's got absolutely no bottom, but it's got a lot of mid and a lot of top. So you have to, like, roll the corners really quick, so you come out the corner quick enough to have the power. And I was thinking, like, if a lot of these kids wanted to actually improve, like, their actual riding skill, their parents should buy them, like, a 90s 125, because they're almost impossible to ride. If you stop and go, you're done, dude. Like,
got to get the momentum up.
It really teaches you to carry that initial speed around the corner, so that when you do come out the corner, you've got enough momentum to get into the power band.
What year bike's that, Nev? I had a 96, 97 and a 98 Suzuki 125.
I thought it was a 96, but it's a 97. So it's the year before they went to that straight clutch cover. They still got the... But what an awesome bike, dude. Even Coops is like, that thing sounds insane. Like, when it's in mid to top, it's as good as any modern bike, like, no doubt. I might actually race it, like, see how that championship's going, and I might actually take it out for a round.
That would be cool.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
I'd love to see that.
That's the sort of stuff I want to do. Like, I want to do videos. You know, I want to do stuff what people want to see. Like, people would love to see, like, a 96 RM125 in a modern two-stroke race against kids on 125s, you know. So when you've got no stress and no pressure, you can just do exactly what you want, which is quite cool.
We've had a mega amounts of interaction already. I've got, like, loads of questions on here already. Normally I've got like 30 odd myself. I don't think I'm going to be getting into mine by the looks of this. So I'm going to have to get into these guys' questions. Right. Got Robin Stanton here on YouTube. Do you still have any Arai helmets from the JLF designs when you rode for Castrol Honda? That's for Coops, isn't it?
I wish I did have an Arai helmet in JLF. I was sick, and I wish I rode a Castrol Honda, but neither of them were for me.
No, that's for Coops. That I don't know if you can see that spray job and that background picture, Nev. Who's the guy? Do you have someone do some helmets for you now?
Yeah,
Who's
so actually that's my friend from Durban in South Africa.
Okay.
I raced with him as a kid growing up, and he's moved to England, and he does spray now. Ken Sturgeon, KSD design, and he's my age, so he's from our era of racing. So kind of like that's one that I got done for Fardy Castle in maybe 19. So it's a chicken Jeff Matasevich replica.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, sure. He had
he's got a good eye for it, dude, and his work is awesome. You know, so he always does a good job for me.
Very cool. I'll have to get that for Coops later. Right. Got Dick Law here. Legend on the old camera. He's put no wild in Woolly this year, Nev.
No, unfortunately not. I wish I was doing it because a lot of people that have built the track said the track's looking really technical. But I'm going to the Isle of Wight with my kids. They love it there because their nephews are there. And, you know, like where I said before, I feel guilty about still riding as much as I do. So I kind of feel when there comes a stage where you have to say, right, it's family time. So, dude, that's a gnarly race there.
That is crazy. I've seen it, obviously. I've never been there, but I've seen them every year. It looks mental.
It's good though. Like for the sport, you know, there is quite a few events like Western and the beach races and stuff, but that's another one that brings like people that aren't involved in the sport to actually come and get to witness what motocross is. You know, like I see a lot of people there from the kids' school and stuff, and just general people that, you know, just kind of love getting filled with mud. And it's a tradition, you know. It's the oldest scramble in the world. So, dude, I've won it 3 times, and I know it's not like a massive race, but to be able to have your name on that trophy is pretty cool, you know, especially where I've lived. I pretty much followed Coops' path to Northampton, and I've lived there most of my professional racing career. So I've got quite a connection to the place. So to kind of race for that club and win that was pretty sweet. But yeah, like anyone watching, I think, you know, Bud and the boys have done a great job this year. First of all, bringing it back in, and second of all, doing a good track, moving the track to Long Buckby. So I think if you can support it, definitely support it.
I think that's your buddy that I just sorted out before you come on air.
Oh, Leonard, yeah.
So
me and Leonard, we raced in South Africa together. He was 1 year older than me. So from we were 7 years old, like myself, him, Gareth Swanepoel, loads of guys, kind of raced all the way through. And then until he was actually like the first dude in South Africa to ride a 250F when the Yamaha 250F came out.
Oh, yeah, when Doug Henry, Doug Henry went on it.
He was pretty good in that. And,
was he?
And now he's actually in England as well now. So.
Ah, cool. So is he out riding now, or is he?
Yeah, he rides. He rides a bit. It's just very different. Like South Africa is very easy to ride motorbikes, and when you get to England, it's a lot harder to go practicing. And just everything's a lot different, and logistics and houses and garages. It's. But crazy enough, like you see the amount of people at practice tracks, you'll know. Like South Africa, you'll go to a practice track, and the busiest you'll get is like 30, 40 people max. You know, you just ride as much as you want, and here it's like, you know, you got like 200 people at the practice track.
Yeah, I get you. It's a bit more. Right, I've got some. How old were you when you got your first bike? Then I've got some beautiful pictures of you growing up and when you first got on bikes and everything. I'm not sure how old you were. I hope this is you.
Look at the style, dude.
It's got to be you. It's got to be you, isn't
it? That's me. That is. I want to say that's 1990. That is. So that's a track in Bloemfontein. So where I'm from in South Africa is Johannesburg, and then Bloemfontein's about a 3-4 hour drive. And we used to have like interprovincial championships. So this is like, so I was still racing a JR50, and these guys were on PW50s. This kid on the right hand side, his brother became one of the best car racers in South Africa. Like multiple South African championships. And then I'm not sure what happened to the kid in the middle, but it kind of blows my mind looking at these photos. You kind of wonder, like, what happened to these guys, you know, like down the line, I'm still riding, and you always wonder what happened to the kids that you grew up racing with. But
might get to see this. They might get to see this at some point. It'd be cool.
Yeah, possibly. I know there is quite a so that was like my first bike, a JR50. So my dad was the parts manager of Suzuki South Africa. So until he left when I was about 13, 14, 14, I think he left. I was Suzuki the whole way through. And then when he left, I kind of had to like sort my own stuff out. But yeah, as you can see, I was Suzuki like all the way through my youth career. Wish I still had some of those helmets, man. And the boots, that's the Bradshaw Exo stuff as well.
How weird is this? So that's your helmet there. I can see that black shoey on that you've got.
You've got one in the background, don't you? I've seen them.
Yeah,
you've got one.
Literally, yeah.
I've tried to get that thing for ages, dude. I almost got one on eBay.
I got it off a guy off Facebook that does loads of them.
So trick, dude.
So
that would have been 1994 when I would have been wearing that, I think.
Yeah.
Mental, dude.
Yeah, I've got my old Jeremy McGrath one that I got. I love it. Gotta love it.
Dude, I don't know how you put your ears in that thing. Every time I put them on, my ears were like completely.
Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, I didn't like that either.
Look,
I've got some cool pictures here. I think this is this on the 125s, Nev?
You see that kid number 5 that's kind of out the shot. That's Leonard on the helmet.
Just on the outside, yeah.
He's got
the old chicken.
That kid in the middle is one of the best motocross riders I've ever seen in my life, talent-wise.
Yeah.
He was 15 years old.
Yep.
Came from South Africa, went to Europe, got a test ride with Jan de Groot, and I think he finished 7th at the Geldorf GP at 15 years old.
Holy shit.
He's like the talent. Like Ryan Hunt was obviously like you guys know who Ryan Hunt was. He came back to Africa, and Jarrett was 14, maybe 15 years old, and he'd be putting 4 or 5 seconds a lap into Ryan.
Jesus.
At 14 years old.
Wow.
Unbelievable, dude. Like even when Grant Langston came back to South Africa, maybe the start of the year that Grant won the World Championship, Grant came back and Jared beat him 3 out of the 4 races that he did in South Africa.
Jesus
Unbelievable
Christ.
talent,
Where's he now then, Nev? What's he doing?
So I'm not sure actually what happened. I know him and Wyatt Avis were on a team, I'm going to say like 2001, and then something happened. He ended up going back to South Africa. He raced the South African Nationals for a while, but I know he's back in Durban now, but I don't think that they ride motorbikes anymore.
That's a bit of me, Nev, cutting up, staying on the smooth lines, keeping off the rough.
You can see how overweight I was, dude. I'd do anything to find the smooth line, dude.
100%. Yeah. Got to be done. Got a few of you.
Yeah, so as you can see, Suzuki all the time because my dad worked at Suzuki. So that's actually the bike that I have now. That previous slide is the same as the model. That's why I got the bike, actually.
Yeah, I see, yeah.
It was my first big bike, yeah.
Man, that is beautiful.
Yeah, dude, like I probably way more there than I do now.
I love it. Did you?
I was only about 13. We like in South Africa, you moved up onto the bigger bikes quite young. I was probably only about 13 years old then, I think.
Was you quite successful as a youth rider in South Africa, Nev?
Not massively. I wasn't like I wasn't like a Jared Diaga or a Grant Langston, but I was kind of like I won a South African championship in the schoolboys, but I was always like quite a hard working dude. So I'd always be like top 3, you know, like I was top 3 coming up, but we had a lot of talent back in that day. We had a lot of talent like Swanepoel, Rattray, Diaga, Wyatt Avis, and then a lot of like Jared Umpleby, like a lot of guys that were good in that country. Stephen Dyson, Le Reserve, dude. Such a, like my generation was, you know, they really aspired to be like full on races. And then I won the South African Schoolboy Championship in 2000, and then went to the adults, and then Ryan Hampton came back, and I managed to beat him in 2002 for the first time. And then I was like, okay, you know, like I was always top 3, and then I managed to win a couple of motors. And then I'm like, right, like I'm 17 years old now. I'm either going to leave now and try and make a career or stay. So, but yeah, coming through like on the 50s and stuff, like I won like national championships on the 50s. So it was like interprovincial. So like you'd have like 5 provinces, and it would be a national, would be everyone together. Yeah. But like I was nothing like me and Tyler would race. Me and Swanee raced a lot. Like me and Swanee were always like really close. Yeah. But guys like Grant was a year older, and Grant was always head and shoulders above. But yeah, no, I wasn't winning everything, but I was always a top 3 guy, I'd say.
So I was just about to ask you that question. Was what sort of age were you? So it was 17 when you come over, was it? Is that to the 18. UK?
Yeah,
18 you come over.
And to be fair, dude, like I still now to this day I can't believe it happened, because like my dad left when I was I think I was 15 or 16. My dad left, and it was just me and my mom doing it for 3 years on our own. And like no money, dude. Like literally, it was either you do well enough to get sponsored and get bikes, or you're not racing. So I was lucky enough to get bikes and parts and stuff every year. But obviously to come to Europe was like, fucking hell, there's a lot of money to come to Europe, you know. And everyone else that from my group that had come before me either came with their parents, or they had a lot of money and sponsors behind them. And I literally came with £700. Literally, dude. And that was it. And I was like, here we go. And to say that I raced motorbikes professionally for 12 years in this country, to start off with absolutely nothing besides $700.
That's very cool.
That's pretty cool, yeah. And also not to come in as like, I didn't come in like Jared Diaga with the talent and you're going to be the next big thing. I came in, I finished 3rd in the South African Championship the year before I came over. So it wasn't like I was some awesome super talent or anything. And then I remember my very first year, by the end of the season at the last British Championship, I finished 3rd in the next 2 class in the Isle of Wight. And I was just like, how has this happened? Like, how have I come from racing in South Africa in 1 season to be finishing on the podium against guys that are top 5 in the world? You know, it was I was quite lucky though. Like I did get some good breaks with some good bikes, you know, like that, very lucky how that kind of fell, because obviously you know how it is. You need, in England, you need equipment to get results. You know?
Was that so 17, 18 was the age you thought, I can have a crack at this, having a pro career, going to go to the UK, ride Europe? Was that all a plan?
I did from 6 years old. From a 6 years old, that's all I wanted to do.
So that early.
Yeah, no, straight up, dude. Like all of my school essays and stuff, and all the shit we had to write about at school was all about racing in Europe. But it was, I kind of just thought of it as a bit of a pipe dream, and then I kind of had a little bit of an opening because my dad left South Africa and moved back to Ireland when I was 15. So I didn't really speak to him for 2 or 3 years, and then I started speaking to him again. And then I was like, "Oh, any chance?" Because obviously he's in the motorcycle industry anyway, so I was like, "Any chance you could kind of sort something out?" And then as soon as I had that first opening, I knew it was like, right, now's the time. If anything's going to happen, and I was so lucky that my first race was on the Isle of Wight, which was a very South African style track, and I did well. I finished. I didn't think I was going to qualify. Like, I had some conception that every single person in Europe was unreal. And the first time I went to a practice track in Scotland, because I got to deal with a Scottish team with Scott Gardner.
Yeah.
And I saw some slow guys, and I was so stoked. I was like, "There's actually slow people here. I'm not going to be the slowest guy on the track." And then, dude, I was completely ready to not qualify for my first British Championship race, just because you hear of how gnarly British Championship racing is and racing in Europe and the conditions. And I remember coming in, I did my first qualifying lap, and I came in and I was 11th. And I was like, "Oh shit, no one's put a lap in yet." And I did. If you go look at the lap chart, I did the most laps out of anyone in qualifying that day, just to make sure I was going to get a lap to get in. And then I ended up finishing 11th in the second moto. And then that was it, dude. Then the next year, obviously, I got offered a deal where I could get bikes, somewhere to live, parts. And then I kind of lived off my prize money, and it didn't cost me to live. And then the second year after that podium, dude, that podium was like, right, you're going to go on a 10 grand wage. And then that was it, dude. There was, and then I think once you get on that ladder and people can see that you got a little bit of fire in you, it's kind of like, that's it. You stay on the ladder for as long as you're willing to put it on the line and do well, you know?
I'll bring up some pics during the interview anyway and ask you about a few of those bikes and stuff that you've raced in your career. But let's get back onto some of these guys, because there's literally hundreds of them already. I've just been chatting, we've been getting lost. All right, I got Ken Winstanley. How are you doing, Ken? Good to see you. Nev, a top rider, an all-round top guy. Great memories over the years with Nev. He was a pleasure to watch.
Ken was an awesome dude. Like, so many people from my era have really got to thank Ken Winstanley for allowing us to make a living from riding motorbikes. Yeah. And like, that's something I really miss about motocross. We used to go to the KWS, rode in there on a Saturday, beer tent Saturday night. The vibe was awesome. You know, you're trying to pull chicks, like obviously you're young, trying to pull chicks. Then you race the next day and you're going home with like $1,200-1,300 in your pocket, you know? And it just worked good, you know. Like, Ken understood, like, you know, Ken was one of those guys that treated the riders with respect. Like, he knew we're going to put good prize money up. We're going to get the best riders in the country, and everyone's going to come and watch us. We're going to create a good vibe. So, yeah, no, Ken, like myself, and I'm sure a lot of other people, like, you really made that whole trying to be a professional motocross rider a lot easier. So thank you.
I know he's got his Winstanley practice track up there, and I think he does enduro and everything up there as well.
Then he's so it'll be his grandson. Like, it looks like his grandson seems to be one of the top amateur racers in the country, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
So he's got that whole path to go again, dude. He's finished to it, Matt. You thought he was done, and now he's going to have to do that whole path again. With, I think it's Joel. I think his name's Joel.
Fair play. He'll be all starting that all again.
Yeah,
looks flat out busy. Yeah, it should be exactly that. Right, I got what's this? Wayne Barrett, Nev. Get out with Tommy and go to Wales, ride some enduro. Love to see that happen.
Enduro, dude. I don't know if I'm an enduro guy or not. I did a race in Wales. I was actually telling somebody about it this morning at one of my dealer visits. And yeah, like, extreme enduro I think is cool, but I'm not keen to like hit logs and get stuck. And but no, Tommy's stuff is cool. Like, I think it's cool to see Tommy's personality come through in his vlogs and getting into the old school bikes and stuff. I think it's definitely done his fan base pretty good. And again, just to kind of, I think what people are already finding appealing about the social media and the vlogs and stuff is you get an insight into like these guys' lives, which you go back 6 or 7 years, you never really got the opportunity to do stuff like that. So
yeah, it's nice to get closer.
But I'll leave the enduro to Tommy and Billy he cruises with.
Yeah, Bolt, yeah. They love it, don't they? Got Peter Jeffrey here. He said, "Did you get my message, Nev? Can he sign the famous AXO lid proper?" He's got an old school AXO helmet, and he's got loads of the guys that have all signed it. Even got some old school boys on there like me.
100%, no, definitely, dude. If we can meet up at some of the races, I'll definitely be honored to do that.
There you go, Peter. He'll be sorting out some proper names on there as well, as he calls it. Mike Wood, the old photographer, used to do the photography in my days in the 90s as well. Mr. Mike Wood, he does all the AMCA and everything. Neville Bradshaw, top guy.
Yeah, Mark's a good dude. Like, he's one of the guys, like, as I said, like, at the AMCA, I did vibe with a lot of people, and Mark was one of them you kind of, like, look forward to seeing and had time to chat every time you walk past him, you know. So, and always good photos and stuff from the races. There's guys like that, you know, people that have been in the sport for a long time, I think, respect the riders and kind of, you know, you just get a good feeling from guys like that. It's the same as like when I go race Canada Hearts or places like that, you know, that old school fan. I've got a lot of time for the old school motocross fan, and Mark's definitely one of them. He really fits into that category for me.
Yeah, 100%. I appreciate all your photos as well, Mike. You did of me, mate. Really.
And to be
really
fair, like, go back to Mark, like, sorry, Martin.
Yeah,
go
no
back
worries.
to
Yeah,
Mark.
carry on. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the older I get, the more I realize that all we get left with is memories. You know, so a guy like Mark being at the races and taking photos, and we save these and we print these photos off, you know, you don't realize that at the time, but like even for myself now, like I'll go back and look at stuff that my dad had saved. And if it wasn't for people like Mark, you wouldn't be able to look back on stuff like this, you know, and people don't appreciate it. Like people, you know, like when I go practicing and I buy photos and people say, no, you can have the photos, have them, like tag me on Instagram. I'm like, dude, I'm going to pay you for the photos. Like, this is your job. Like, we need people like you to be coming here weekend so that we can show our kids, and or even to, like, you know, like when you finish racing and look back, and it's funny when you look at a photo, you remember those days, you know, like whether it's good or bad, like a photo will bring back a memory. So it's good to have guys like that in the sport that contribute to it, you know.
100%. And even appreciating Mike back then in the 90s, because we didn't have all the social media then. It was the TMX on the Friday, the paper, Trials and Motocross, and Mike did all our photos. So super cool what he did, and top bloke. Right, we've got Martin Neary here. He's put jokes aside. So the 2022 MX Vets team, South Africa, surely not Team Paddies. What's the plan, bro? Merry Christmas.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me. First of all, the reason why it is tough for me, because like, he wasn't one of my good friends, but a guy I already knew and I respected, Gavin Williams. Obviously, he's just passed away a few months ago from COVID, and his dream was, he spent so much money, dude, but his dream was to have South Africa on the podium at a Vets Nations. He brought teams over for what, 4 or 5 years, and I rode for him that year when I won all the motos. I actually rode for him, and I shook his hand before. He didn't even know me. Like, he came and watched me do one race. He didn't know me, and he said to me, if you win every race and beat Mark Brown, I will get you a flight to South Africa. I'll get you box to ride at my event. And I was like, you know how people a lot of people bullshit, don't they? So like,
yeah, of course.
And dude, he honored it. Like, not many people honor stuff like that. And he honored it, got me out to South Africa. So I would like to ride for South Africa because we could put a good team together, but it just doesn't happen. For some reason or not, it doesn't happen. You know, a lot of people take the piss out of me on the Irish thing, but it's legit, dude. My mom and my dad are Irish. You know, I spent a lot of time in Ireland, and I just think, like, I was so stoked in this year, like, so pumped. Like, we were going into that last race, and it was Wales. We needed to beat Wales. And I'll put my hands up. I'm not a team guy. Like, I don't really do the whole team thing. But it was the first time in my life I was like, come on, boys, let's get this done. And every single man on that team stepped up and beat the person they needed to beat. And I couldn't have been more proud, dude. Like, honestly, like, I was so pumped on how that went, you know. So, I am going to ride for Ireland at the Vets thing. I think, you know, just it's consistent and the guys are good and it's good crack. I think the South African thing, it's awesome and it all sounds good, but it's just the logistics of it to ship bikes over, to get riders over, to get bikes right, to get spares, to get something to work out of. And we came so close as well. That first year, we came very close to a podium, and then Ryan was having an awesome race, and then he had the biggest crash, Ryan Hunt. And we got close to it. So, but like, you never know in the future. You never know what happened. Like, but for me to do that for Gavin would be really cool. That's one thing I would really like to do. But I know doing what I'm doing, like, he'd be stoked on what I'm doing. As long as I'm out there riding and enjoying myself, I'm sure he'd be happy with it. So
that's nice. Yeah, that's nice, mate. So obviously, your Mr. Coopers and your Herrings. Did you look up to them guys? And obviously, they came over to Europe, and obviously did Unreal. Did you guys look up to them?
So kind of like, obviously
Mm-hmm.
you always heard about Robbie Herring, like everyone in South Africa spoke about Robbie, and everyone when I came over spoke about Robbie. Like they speak about Rob Herring like he was James Stewart. Like unfortunately, I rode with Robbie a little bit, but I never got to like experience what everyone kind of talks about. And Robbie's the most awesome guy, like it actually blows, and Coops as well. Like it just blows my mind how good these guys are. Like we were riding at VIP on Saturday, and he's riding around with people, and it gives me shivers to think that these people don't even know that they're riding around with the guy that used to race Stefan Everts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But going back to your question, so
yeah.
I heard about Robbie, obviously, because my dad worked for Suzuki and Robbie was riding Suzuki a lot. So I heard about Robbie, and then Coops. What I can remember about Coops was, like as a young kid, you always want to aspire to be on a team. That's your
on a team ride, yeah.
And I can remember Paul Cooper riding for Wrangler Yamaha, and I'm not sure if he went to Schick, but then he went to Schick Yamaha, but Wrangler Yamaha. I can remember Coops with the old shoey helmet. Do you remember when it was orange at the top?
Yeah.
That's what I can remember about Coops. And then he came back and did a few internationals when I was on 80s. He was doing internationals, and the guy was just a level above, dude. But like you could see, he was a hardworking dude. And then actually, I became very good friends with his best friend. We were teammates for 1 year. And then he kind of got me and Coops speaking. And dude, to this day, I know it sounds stupid, but I still like get shy around the guy, because
like he's fanboy did
that. Big time, dude, like big time. Even to this day, it's like kind of like, and like just how, like I've seen like the raw Paul Cooper when I came over in 2004. Like I used to go stay with him quite a bit, and like like I've been around guys like UC, like I put Paul Cooper, UC Vivelaine, and Yoshi Atsuda, like all those guys were like next level. Their work ethic was next level, but Coops was like on another level. Like whether, like training, eating, trainer, diet, getting fit, testing a motorbike, like, it's just insane how much. And I think like even more than people that have won world championships, like what that guy invested into the sport was just mind blowing, and as you saw, like on his day, like the guy could be like a top 3 guy in the world, and also like the vibe that Coops carried, I really dig that. Like Coops is quite a cool guy, like like he enjoyed life, like chased chicks, race good, did like wore different kit to everyone, did tricks on the track, like I'm really drawn to people like that to kind of. So I remember once at where was it, Cullum, 2005 at a British Championship, like he was qualified first or second. I was about 6th or 7th. And at that time, like that was my thing, dude. Like I'm living and dying for this. This is serious. Fucking, this is what we're here to do. And I was like, had my head down on the handlebar. I was like kind of visualizing a race or whatever, being super serious. And Coops, he's like, where's the chicks, bro? Where's the chicks? And I was like, fuck, this is actually like, that's the, like chill, like it's just a motorbike race. And Coops was always good at like, he was super serious, but he also like enjoyed life, which I think was cool.
Very down
and then
to earth,
Robbie was just something else, like I got to ride Robbie a little bit. He actually helped coach me in 2010 a little bit, and just I rode behind him for a lap at a practice track, and he did stuff. And I actually said to Coops on Friday about it. We were actually riding it on Sunday. We rode the track where Robbie did this stuff, and I was like, it blew my mind, dude. The guy jumped 3 bumps into a corner, landed up in the rut, standing up, and carried his momentum through the corner. And I was like, wow, it's special, dude. Like some people, and you think that some people are born with it, but then like I have long conversations with Coops while we're cycling and stuff, and that was hard work. That was riding your motorbike 5 days a week in South Africa under the stopwatch, getting shit from your dad every time you're riding, getting shit every time you don't get a result. Like it's not, like it's all not, people look at a guy that's talented like that and think it just happens, but sometimes they do have to work it as well,
Yeah, for sure. Those boys worked hard, didn't they? I'm not sure who that is. Maybe Mark Dudley from the UK Evo. Maybe he's not put his name on it, but you're always welcome at UK Evo. Bird, always great to watch, or watch when you lap us.
The Evo events are cool. Like that really, like where I was struggling to enjoy my riding when me and JP went and did that race at one of the tracks. I think it was near Marshfield or something. It kind of was like, okay, this is why we do this, like racing the two, and the vibe, like that's the biggest thing, man. Like I was watching Tom Church and John May, and I was like, this is motocross. And then I was like, fuck it, JP, you got to build me a 125 for 40, because that I want to do some of that those boys are doing. So the UK's, and it's just everyone's there for a good time, and that's where I want to be going in my racing. Is just to be going where people want to be there and people just want to enjoy themselves and go home and go to work on a Monday.
Got so many. I'm about an hour behind on comments.
It gets less and less chance of me lapping people because obviously every season. So
that's it.
I will be lapping you guys soon.
Mark Taylor's put here, Nev, I have a signed Cooper shirt and a signed Heron shirt, but no Bradshaw. Very hinty there, Mark.
You wouldn't want to put a Bradshaw shirt next to a Cooper and a Heron shirt. Surely not. Dude, I actually found some the other day. I was cleaning the garage out. So that stuff now, like obviously I don't get that stuff anymore, but I've still got some stuff stacked from days when I did get it. So I like Mark. Like he's another guy from our kind of era of racing that appreciates, just you can tell from a person's vibe and the way they speak about the sport that whether they're into it. And Mark's a cool dude. So I'll definitely hook you up one, dude. Just let me know when you're going to previous track again or whatever.
There you go, Mark. Sorted. Another top former British Championship rider, Mr. Julian Rawson, has just come on as well and put great comment, love racing and 125 and fun. I think he was with Ryan Hunt at Suzuki in the 90s as well. I think.
Okay. Yeah, 125 is like hands down. There's no more fun than riding a 125. When you can ride it in the sweet spot, it's just like the thing I like about it is it's safe. Like I find it safe. I can ride it to the limit and I still feel safe. And also like kind of like how I can picture myself riding in my head. I feel like I'm putting that onto the track, if you know what I mean. When you ride a 450, I rode a 450 for the first time a while back. And just, man, everything comes at, I cooked the front brake because everything just comes at you so fast, dude. It's like you almost have to be thinking so far ahead of where you are. You're not actually riding in that moment.
Yeah, and then you just like get the anchors on.
Yeah, dude, and it's like trail braking, just hoping to make it into stuff. It really takes a while to adjust back to riding those quick bikes again.
Oh, glad I didn't miss this. Braxton says, hi, Daddy.
Little Braxton. He should be in bed at 9 o'clock. He's He's got 11 o'clock curfew. He's got a couple of hours left.
Mr. Glenn Phillips, don't build a bad motor, do I, Nev?
Yeah, dude, fair play. Glenn built that engine on that 96 RM125.
How he built that, did he?
A few tweaks, man. I've got the jet in a little bit more dialed and I've got a few tweaks in it. But yeah, dude, you've given me a solid base, I'd say.
I love that.
Glenn, we need to do a 125 race, actually, dude.
Yes.
We need to hit that treadmill up a few weeks in a row, and then we need to get on the 125s and get on it.
100%. Calvin here put he hasn't peaked yet.
Dude, I peaked in 2013, baby. I'm downward spiral, heavy downward downhill from here on in.
The old mate race, but Tim Heasman's come on as well. Put one of the fastest 125 riders in the UK right now.
Dude, all that is clutch and back brake, dude. It sounds quick. You'll be surprised when the transponder comes out. We might have a different. Dude.
Right, Gareth Edwards has put, what is the most enjoyable race you've ever been in?
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
Difficult.
So there's one race that sticks out, and I don't know, like, I've had a lot of enjoyable races, obviously. Like, I've raced motocross for like a long time. That Isle of Wight one sticks out, but one, for some reason, I don't know why it sticks out. It was Landrake in 2009. Myself and Jake Nichols were going for second place overall in the British Championship that season. In the first race, my teammate took me out, and I flipped, dude. Like, made probably the worst decisions I've ever made in my career that day. But besides that, so going into the next mode, I'm like, right, I got to do this, dude. Like, I'm going to put everything on the line. Like, obviously, you got bonus money, like, and I really just wanted to beat Jake and finish second in the championship.
Yep.
So myself and Mattis Caro get to the front. It was at Landrake. And, dude, like, I was quite good friends with Mattis as well. And Caro on his day, dude. Yeah. Mattis Caro on his day was like a special rider. Yeah. And we went at it like heaps, like just like wide open. But you know when you trust somebody, you're racing with someone, but you trust 100% what's going on?
Yeah.
And, dude, like, we went at it for 35 minutes and we finished. So the third place guy was Pascal Lorette.
Yeah.
Remember Pascal Lorette?
Yeah.
Multitech.
Yep.
But then, dude, like all the like modern bar, like you know how stacked it was in 09, dude, was like loads of riders. We finished 47 seconds ahead of third place in that moto. And I missed and I didn't pass Mattis like I am my whole career. I settled for second place because I can be a pussy at times. And Jake beat me by 2 points.
Wow.
But that race, I just remember that race thinking, like when you're on rails, like it's easy, but you're going so fast. Yeah. Like the track was super technical. I've actually got a few. And then like a lot of the race, like a lot of championships I won came down to the wire. So the first one was against Nicholas Orban for the Supercross Championship.
Yeah. And
I passed him on the last lap. So that was quite cool because Dave Thorpe was the main Honda team and DB Racing was just a satellite team. So we won that Supercross Championship on the last lap with 2 corners to go. So they were sick. And then one of them that myself and Wayne Smith were going for the first ever Red Bull Pro National Championship. And again, my teammate, the same dude from that season, messed me up in the first moto. So it left me like it was like an outside shot at winning this, dude. It was possible. Long shot, dude. Long shot. So I ended up winning the race. My teammate got second, and Wayne Smith was in third. So he had the championship won by 2 points. And Scott Elderfield nailed him on the last turn of the last lap and passed him at the finish. And so he 5 points, and then I beat him because I had more race wins. So stuff like that. And then obviously I don't really want to speak about it too much, but the Stephen Lenoir thing, obviously that came down to the very last moto and managed to do that. That was, at the time, it was cool. And then, like, one of the best moments, like not a race, was doing the sighting lap at the very first Destinations I did in Ernie in 2005.
Yep.
I've never in my life had a feeling like that. I was like, it was insane, dude. Like, literally doing the warm-up lap, and there's like, just from the what's it called? Like the side of the track, like 20 people deep. You couldn't hear anything, like, is this actually happening? Like I'm riding for my country for the first time, which is something I dreamed of that I never thought would happen. My first race was good. I did really well, a lot better than anyone in the South African team thought I was going to do. And then, it's just like a very good time of your life. You think, like, how have you got here? That's one thing I'll take to my grave is that feeling I had doing that sighting lap before the last moto of that day.
Things like that.
Yeah, that was cool. So showing the boys.
Elbows out, Nev, elbows out.
It's stuff like that I can show my kids. Those. James Stewart I think he's the best racer that's ever raced a motorbike, and then Stefan Everts, Europe's best ever, and then to be in the middle of those two guys is pretty special, eh? Like, and like Coops will tell you the same thing, and I'm sure a lot of. Well, actually, I'm not sure if a lot of people will, but I think the South African upbringing is a lot different to like European upbringing. But whatever we did in our career was never good enough. Like, we never really like enjoyed the moment you were in. And now looking back on it, like, there was cool times, but you're like, oh, I should have done this, or I should have done that, or even when you win a championship, you're like, oh, I shouldn't have been able to take it all the way to the wire. Like, it was never ever good enough. And it's something he told me. He was like, dude, like, enjoy the moment. And I never kind of understood it, and I didn't. Like, I look back on it now, and man, like when you're going home with like $1,500 just in prize money, you should be savoring those moments, because when you get into the real world, dude, it's a different story.
Yeah. Altogether. Very cool, mate. Unbelievable memories, isn't it? I love the memories. Gotta love them. Right, I got Andy Statham here. Hey, Andy, how's it going, buddy? Another UK Evo guy as well. What went through your mind when you went down at Farley on the first corner to come back through the pack?
First thing went through my mind is I hope I haven't broken JP's bike, because I'm not going to hear the end of it for the rest of the day. That was kind of like, I didn't actually realize what had happened. Like, the first thing that went through my head was like, I just hope I'm not going to get slammed, because obviously I was at the front. So I kind of tucked under the bike, but I kept my hand on the clutch to keep it going. And then, dude, once I got on, I was greasing it. I passed these two guys. I told JP, there's actually a photo of it. I commented something and someone put a photo. It was number 341. Who's that dude? He was quite good. He finished second in the first moto at Farley. Bars. Is it not Clinton Bars? Elliot Bars.
Elliot Bars, yeah.
And then number 5, he's a good rider as well. The number 5 dude was a good rider. Real good in the 2 strokes. Anyway, so I got up to good riders by that time. And when you cut through like the orchard thing, you go down that long straight, you go right, and then that next left-hander, I was literally like half a bike length behind both of them and did them both around the outside with my feet up on the same turn. And I was like, this is insane, dude. Like when I was so pissed. And then I got back to John. I didn't realize it was John that hit me. And then when I got back to John, I was kind of like, I had to have a breather. But coming through that was just, you know, like when you're riding a 125 like that, you can just go wherever you want, you know, and you can touch the edges, you can cut people up, you can just go exactly where you want. And that was so much fun, you know, kind of coming through. Because I was kind of bummed by that time. Like a lot of stuff had gone wrong in the AMCA leading up to that. I'm like, fucking like, normally things go good for me because I'm quite a believer. Like if you work hard, and I still work hard with the training side, I think things just fall your way, and just nothing had really been falling my way.
Yeah.
And then I was like, fucking, I'm coming to Farley. I really want to win this 125 class. And then I'm like on the ground, won the first 2 motors the first day, and then it's gone to shed. And so I was quite glad to come back. And then to catch John, you know, like I honestly, and this is no bullshit, I went into Farley thinking I'm not going to run with Tom and John. Like I watched them do that race that I was at, and I'm like, those boys have got those bark style. They've raced them all year. There's no ways like I'm going to run that with those boys. You know, like maybe, you know, like I'll be close, but I won't be racing them. So to be able to come from a crash and then catch John up on the last lap, I was like, it's pretty cool, you know, because John, dude, like John on the 125, even when I came over in 2004 when he was riding for Rob Hooper, like he was like the man, dude. Like the under 21 class, like John was winning motos in that. I think he's a really good like 125 small bike rider. But that's also funny. Like, I mean, Tom, like I never really got to race Tom a lot, but me and John did under 21s, and then, geez, what are we? 18 years down the line, dude. We're still banging each other at racing all bikes at Farley Castle.
I was going to say that makes me feel quite old as well, because I remember John racing on 100 when I was racing in the 125s.
Oh, no ways, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mate, oh, classic.
Long time.
Right, I got. I'm so far behind. I'm literally. This is comments made at like 8:25. So you can imagine how many comments are on here. Dave King, Nev, 1, 2, or 3 VMX Donations, Fox Hill, August Bank Holiday.
Dude, that's a tricky one actually, because I called number 4 when we won it this year. I'd already shotgun number 4 because I wanted to do like a Ricky Carmichael replica Honda.
Oh yeah.
So I'm actually I almost said the team there, so that was close. So number 1's taken, number 2's taken, so I'm going to be number 3, I guess.
Okay. What's 4 though, Dave?
Yeah, 4 would be the one. Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Fox Hill hometown. God, I love that.
So what's the crack then? Is Fox Hills actually going to be the Vets Destinations? Is that how it is now?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then are they still going to have a Farley Castle race?
Yeah, they're still having a Farley as well, I think. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, but just
cool.
not.
We get two chances at it. I like that.
So Dave and Dot Wobb's doing the actual vets at Fox Hill, so in that August. So yeah, should be very cool. Be nice to reminisce over the 90 GPs days and getting
dude, I think it's going to be an awesome event.
Such good those days, so good. Robin Stanton put you were very successful on the DB Honda team. Do you enjoy
that team? Got to be careful what I say, because I've had a few good teams that I've ridden for, but that team was like all that they mattered was the rider was happy and the rider had the best bike that they could have, that the rider could have. That's people ask me about regrets that I have in my life, and that is or in my racing career, and I don't have many, but that is one regret that I have of leaving them. I should have been from the start to the end with that team. Like everything was just perfect. Like, and at the time, you know, like I was like always wanting more, like not more money, like absolutely not more money, because, you know, like I was happy enough to make my money through the bonuses. The bonuses were good. But, you know, like I was like, we need a suspension test. Like if something was wrong, like I was pushing them so hard, like we need to get out with whoever's doing the suspension. It's not right. And then the year actually that we lost it by a few points in 2013, it was, that was caused by suspension, like 100%. Like by the end of the year, we were catching up every single motor and got really close at the end. But the first 2 rounds, I kept saying, like, this is not right, this is not right, this is not right. And Dave took it in. Like, Dave was like, yeah, okay, we'll get it sorted. But then whoever the suspension guy was never got it dialed. And then when we did get it dialed, dude, from that day, and it was something I said, I kept saying, go one spring rate softer, one spring. And the guy was like, no chance, a rider of your ability. And I'm like, dude, like I grew up in South Africa riding standard suspension. Like my stuff is soft, you know, like I have to have it soft because I need the front end to dip.
They always go hard, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, I can't ride a bike. That's why I struggle on the KTMs and stuff, is because they angled like that where I like a bike like that. But the DB Honda team, man, like those bikes, and it was relentless, dude. Like it was like new clutches between motos. And I'm like, now I go 20 hours on a clutch.
Yeah.
New clutches in between motos. And Dave was like, I was like, Dave, I think the clutch is okay. And he's like, yeah, but last time we put a new clutch in your whole shot. And I was like, okay, cool. And like tires, like you got offered 20 grand on a tire deal. And I'm like, dude, like I love Pirelli tires. Oh, sweet. I'm going to go buy Pirelli tires. If we don't get them for free, I'm going to buy them for you.
Wow.
It was dialed, dude. It was like,
very cool.
And dude, he had like I'm sure you would have seen his setup. He didn't care about the awning. He didn't care about how many Red Bull cans and hospitality stuff that he had under the awning. All he cared about was he had race fuel, he had a bike that was set up, and he had a rider that was happy. You know, like I think, you know, yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'm not even going to.
Okay.
I was going to make a reference to the AMCA, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to.
Oh yeah. Don't. I got Robert Ruddy. He's put, hi Nev, mate. It's nice to see you. Keep up the great work, champ. Hope to see you next year, bro. Bob.
Bob's a good guy. So Bob's the guy. He does like a lot of the marshalling around like the Mildenhall area.
Yeah. Okay.
Another old school
Suffolk. Yeah. Suffolk.
I really dig people like that. You know, like people that.
Norfolk.
You know, like I found it myself personally. Like these guys from that era, they remember you racing, and they'll still respect you now and shake your hand and talk to you. Where there's a generation where when I stopped, dude, like I was ghosted. Like when I was in a professional racer, you'd show up to a race, and the guys that wanted interviews would just put their heads down and walk past you. Where that older generation of person was like a really genuine. How are you? How is your family? It's good to see you still at the motocross track. You know, where, you know, like it's a fine line. Yes. What's that? I hope that's Dave King saying yes, saying Paul Cooper's racing. He's hooked up Coops to race.
Hopefully. Maybe he can let us know. Let us know, Dave. This is a cool question from Adam Winslet. You've probably seen that he did some interviews with Dave and all that on the vet stuff. They did the interviews as well. It was cool. He's put, Father Christmas is real, Nev. So what works bike and track would you ask for?
So I'm going to go with...
Yeah.
I'm going to go with, who was Jeremy McGrath, 1995 CR250 at the Ayrton Isle of Wight track.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah,
you like that GP track. All the riders like that, didn't they?
Yeah, dude, like Douglas Hamilton. What I liked about Johnny's tracks is you could race on Johnny's tracks. Like there was options. Everything was cambered. Like his tracks were like full on race tracks, nice booters, but then there's also sections that were super technical, and you know, just with the elevation on the Isle of Wight, there was an awesome track.
Bummer, I'm not sure because some of the guys don't click on. Basically, you have to click on this bloody link on this thing to get your profile to work. Someone's put, I enjoyed racing Nevin a few times. I got far enough at the pack to race him, so I'm not sure who that is. A bit of a bummer when you can't see the name. Yeah, and it was Elliot Bars. Mark confirmed there. Tyler Svensson. I wonder if he would prefer the 125 or the 500.
125.
When I watched you on the 500 at the Cusses Supercross,
I love my 500. Like I really enjoy riding my 500, but it's it's a very different way of riding a 500, as you know. And like at a 125, like I feel like I'm riding to my limit, where I always leave a little bit extra on a 500. Like I never ever ride by, like I don't know. That's something in my career that I never was able to do, was disconnect my brain. I always ride like within my capabilities, but I find on a 125, I feel like I'm riding quite close to that edge. Where 500 they're both fun, but if I was to go say, right, we're going to go have an awesome day riding in the sand, what are you going to take? I'm going to take the 125.
Yeah. I was at the Cusses with the old Perrotts and Paul Elton's Sandown and all that down there with the Supercross. I saw you on the 500. That was pretty cool.
How cool is that to win a motor on that 500?
That's mental, mate. I was like watching.
I did the first lap of practice and I was like, no, this ain't happening. Like everything I hit, the bike was so heavy, I just absorbed everything. And then I blocked past the dude on the first race and I had to jump a triple. I hadn't jumped the whole time. And I couldn't actually believe it. I found myself in the front. You know, I was like,
mental.
It's cool. That's the sort of stuff I dig doing, is like letting people see the capabilities of, not spending 15 grand on suspension and parts and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't really need that stuff,
You're going to go back there? Do you enjoy that? It was a really cool atmosphere, that Supercross as well.
100%, dude. I'm going back to that because that is one of the events. Is the reason why I race. And then obviously I was helping with Fox with we sponsored the event a little bit and put on a whip competition because in South Africa all the Supercrosses and all the races had a whip comp, and it was such a buzz, dude. Like just to see people lay it down, and it's something I've never seen in England. So I was like, right, Fox being the brand it is, we want to do something a little bit different to what's been done. So we put that whip comp on. And dude, like it was such a buzz. Like everyone got so vibing on like the guys laying it down.
It was so good. Gareth won that, wasn't it?
Yeah, dude. He laid a big one down.
Did lay it though. Yeah, it was mint. I got it all on video somewhere.
I think, and also like I think Jeff's got it nailed where it's like a one-off event. I think when you start trying to make a series, people get a bit over it. But when you get that one-off shot at something like that, I think it hits pretty good.
If you ever need that, I think I've got a couple of videos of that I did live in my group at the time, I think.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so I've got that if you needed it. Anything. Yeah. So, so if you had to pick, I know this is going to be difficult, and when I was going through all your pictures of all your career, and I've got so many on here. I noticed you've obviously rode on all the brands. Very cool pictures on all of them. But what has been your favorite race bike in your career?
Like my favorite bike of all time is my DS80.
Is it?
That was my that made the best memories. 1980, maybe 1991 DS80, but like on full on race bikes when I moved to Europe. I'll tell you one bike that was really good was Motorvision had in 2004 the RMZ 250. It had a pro circuit gearbox and like that bike was dialed, so that was a good bike. The 05 RMZ. Then the DB Hondas were good. The 13 Honda was really good. Trying to think what other bikes.
Don't want to put the wrong picture up because there's so many.
Yeah, so that bike there, dude, that bike was insane.
Yeah.
That bike was unbelievable. The way it turned, like we tested a lot on that bike. Like we tested different exhausts, different cams. We got that bike pretty dialed. I was trying to think. Oh, then the 08 Honda was good. Evotech got that 08 Honda pretty good. The 09 Honda was good.
Cool picture from Martin Petts there. That's Martin Petts' picture. Thanks for that. I've got a few of you on the Honda. I don't want to pick out the wrong one. I don't want to pick the wrong one on.
Oh, dude, that bike, that was a special bike. Holy shit. Everyone. So when I went to go do that two-stroke championship, all my buddies were taking the piss out of me saying, dude, there's no ways that you are going to ride a CR250 and race with Mark Kress on a KTM 250 or whatever. And we raced the championship to the end, dude. Like at the first round on the last lap, I almost passed him on the last lap on that 2002 Honda, but it was so I bought the bike from Fraser Swanson, Kelly Swanson's brother.
Oh yeah, Fraser. I think I raced him.
And dude, I remember racing at a Mildenhall, and when I was riding, I was thinking, like, if anyone can handle more power than this, like, you are a good rider. Because I was actually doing 2 laps on, and then having to stand the pegs for 1 lap to recover, and then do another lap. But it was like on or off, like where you ride a KTM now, like it's a very smooth power. That was either it was there or it wasn't there.
Yeah.
And dude, like,
bit of a beast.
Didn't even get the suspension revalved. Like literally, as I bought that bike from that dude, literally, besides Neil Prince giving me some race gas, that was it, dude. That's how we raced that bike.
Very cool. Got some good pictures. What's that one?
That makes me. So going into that race, dude, I went against it, like, because I think it was like 7 or 8 points in it between me and Mark Kress to win that championship.
Yeah.
So I came up with this idea. Like, I'm quite bad at coming up with ideas, and then once I've got an idea, I really have to
gotta go with it.
Dude, I was like, how cool would it be to race like a 500 on Foxes like they used to do back in the day? And so I said to JP, like, me and JP had just kind of met at that stage. We like spoke a little bit, but I didn't really know him that well. But I was riding for Neil Prince, and he was like, "Oh, JP will get you a bike." So literally, JP gets me this bike. It wasn't like the bikes he gives me now. Like the bikes he gives me now are like brand new bikes.
Yeah.
This was a little bit roached. And I went to VIP. The very first time I rode it at VIP, I think my wife was with me, and my best friend from South Africa was with me. And I didn't feel good on it, dude. And they were like, dude, like, I'll be honest, you don't look good in this bike. Like, just stick with your bike. And I'm like, nah. But imagine what the people think, like, imagine the people have seen a 500 around Fox Hills. Yeah. So anyway, get to the race day, dude. Like, I tried to do a qualifying lap, couldn't do a qualifying lap. It was muddy, it was wheel spinning, it was heavy. And so I was about 9th. I came into JP and he's like, "Oh, dude, you're like in 9th place." I'm like, "Fucking hell." So then I was like, maybe I should get the 250. And then there was time to do one more lap. On that last lap, I went second behind James Dunn, like in front of Cress and all those guys. So qualified second. And then, as you know, dude, like, and then we had a problem. The base gasket got blown, so it didn't start. So it took a lot of work to kind of get it going. And even though I didn't win that championship, I'm so glad I did that, just because people remember that, like if I won that championship, people by the next weekend, people will have forgotten that. But I think it'll stick in a lot of people's minds that day that you finished on the podium on a 1989 CR500 against like younger dudes on modern two-strokes,
Yeah. I think now as soon as you said Fox Hill, I think I took that picture.
Oh, did you?
Just realised. Yeah, I just realised. As soon as you said Fox Hill, I was like, I would have been there and taken
it. Dude. Just looking at that photo, it makes me
100%.
smile.
Yeah, it's really cool. Dave just come on and said, total respect, Nev, for mentioning the late, great Gavin Williams. Gav was a true enthusiast. I would always rely on him in this pass, and has left a big hole in himself. Good VMX. That was nice.
Yeah, it's pretty sad, really. But everyone's got a day, man. Everyone's got a day, unfortunately.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Dan Merrifield here put Nev very quick around Ellsworth. Loved going on a Wednesday with Fraser Swanson and watching Nev.
Yeah, Ellsworth was a cool track. I loved Ellsworth. Very like a very South African style track, like
supercrossy,
just like track to ride. And then Andy, like I love Andy Lee. Like that guy really helped me change my career around in 2008. What an awesome dude. Like just like special talents like that, like you said in all sports, they just got like a vibe around them. And I'm a big believer in the people you hang around is the kind of vibe you carry. And Andy, I love going on a Wednesday, and I love the phone call on a Sunday on the way home to see how the racing went. And still to this day, dude, he was really good at starts and I struggle with starts. And to this day, I still go through the same technique of breathing. So every single race I do, I actually think about that guy on the start line because it's the breathing technique that he taught me. So it's kind of weird, but yeah, Ellsworth, they had that big jump that Frez used to jump as well. They had like a massive double. I think that's why Frez pretty much went there just to huck that every couple of laps, I think.
Because that was quick as well, quite quick around there as well, wasn't it? It was proper like sort of hard pack supercross as well.
And the conditions are always like very grippy, so like you could really push the limits around there.
So obviously, I know your number is well known. I'm just going to bring a few pictures that we can talk about them bikes. I've got loads on here, but the number wise, you've got your. Here we go. Oh, there's a 5 there.
So that was my. Oh, so no, that was the 4-stroke championship. You remember they did the British 4-stroke championship?
Yeah.
So that was number 5 for that because I was actually I think I was number 44 that year in the British Championship and the World Championship. But that was for that MX 4-stroke championship or whatever it used to be called.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, it's quite ironic. I was going to. Is that as well? Then is it?
So that's Martin Barr and Scotty Cullum and Mark Huckleberry in the middle there.
Yeah, actually 50. Yeah, good on Mark. Yeah, so I was basically going to bring up the number, and then I brought up a number 5. 272. What is the reason behind your love for that, then, Nev?
So my first number was 27. Like that's my lucky number, 27. And then when I wanted to go 27, Lewis Gregory was number 27. So then 272 is 27 both ways.
Got it.
So that's what that is.
Okay.
There's nothing too special about it. Just 27 is my lucky number.
Okay. I get it. I see your schoolboy youth ones with that on as well, so that makes sense. Yeah. So, is there any track venues that you don't enjoy racing? I know everyone always.
Oh, definitely, dude. Jeez, some tracks used to hate to go to. Like, I used to find. I'll tell you where I used to struggle when we went to the west of the country. So when we went to Landrake,
Cornwall,
Little Silver. What is that one track called, dude? It was a savage track. Whiteway Barton or something like that.
Oh yeah. I was going to have my reunion there, and I changed.
No, there was another one that was Torrington.
Yeah. That was
tracks, and then Raider track. Like I used to hate tracks where it's just wide open and you don't think. Like coming from South Africa, being such technical tracks, I really struggle. Like now, because AMCA tracks are a little bit like that, and I can do it now. But when I first came over, I was like freaking out about how fast these guys are just going, just bouncing off berms and edges, and And then sand, dude. Like, to be honest, sand. We used to struggle in the sand. Like where I was from in South Africa, it was just all the hard pack tracks. So anytime we went to like a lot of the tracks, like Desert Martin, Black Soil, Hawkstone, I could get away with because you can kind of have a hard pack style and get away with it. But then when we did GPs at like Lommel, dude, I was just like out of my. It was just get through this weekend and move on to something else.
Yeah. This question is quite ironic with you because everything I see you wear, anything you've ever wore, your gear, your kit, I know it's obviously sponsors and you wear that whatever team you're with and things like that at the time, but you've always had, I think I took this picture of you at Fox Hill, just trying to get a close-up different pictures and stuff like that, but all your gear has always been super cool. I know you're all into the Super Evo bikes and all that as well. Your gear always looks super cool, so you have to be careful how you answer this now, who you working.
No, dude, I'm completely honest with most stuff.
Okay, cool. Basically, your favorite race gears and that over the years, things like that.
I think like the reason I've always kind of like liked to have good setups is, you know, like motocross is a way to express yourself, isn't it? Like it's what you do. You want to express yourself in the best way that you can, and you want to look cool. And it's something that I've always taken pride in since I've been a kid. I've always wanted to have the coolest kids. I looked up to the riders that always had the coolest kid. And same as like sponsorship wise, you know, like I think you always get good deals when you presentable, you know, like if you're wearing good kit and you're presentable, you're always going to get a good deal. So I was lucky, dude. Like pretty much my whole racing career in England was Troy Lee design. So really cool. Like as you can see, most of the photos are Troy Lee. So it always helps when you kind of supported by a good brand. And then when I stopped getting free kit, then I was like, right, I'm going to buy the coolest kit there was. And then I was really into the Fox stuff, you know, like Fox always makes good stuff. So even now, dude, like I would probably spend $500 on kit through a season, then, you know, take 10 sets of kit that I don't really want to be wearing, because I think you've got like you got to take pride in what you do, I think, and you got to make sure you look good. It's the easiest thing to do, you know, like a lot of kids that parents are buying kit, like I look at some of the setups and I just think like, you know, like you guys aren't even getting it for free. Like make your kid look good. Like if you look good, you feel good. Like just the whole vibe changes, I think, you know. So that's why I like it. And like all my helmets are all like 90s inspired. Like, you know, that's the generation I grew up in. It's quite funny. Like before I knew Josh Brooks, I always used to notice we always used to have like very similar helmet spray jobs. And then since I've met him over the last couple of years, dude, we both just like massive 90s geeks, just like fanboys from all those guys in the 90s. So it's quite funny how it's quite similar on the helmet spray jobs that we have, you know.
Well, I will say you're always super cool with everything you wear, even all the retro stuff and all the newer stuff. Everything looks mint. First thing that stands out, you know. Very cool, mate. Very cool. I'm putting that out there.
Dude. Gotta try.
Did it mean anything to you, Nev? I was just about to bring up a couple of pictures of you on like the front of magazines and that. Did you always was that really cool to you? Was that
massively, dude? Like, I mean, we used to, like when my mom could afford it, we always used to get like the motocross magazines from the CNA and stuff. But by the time they got to South Africa, dude, they were like extortionate money. So, dude, like, and even the one year, it might have actually been that one. So I obviously used to go back to South Africa in the off season, and like I always just meet my buddies at the mall for lunch and stuff, and then walk into the CNA, which was the shop that used to sell it. And no bullshit, dude. Like once there was a the magazine, the cover was on the shelf.
Yeah.
And like my buddies were just like, you know, taking the piss and stuff. And I was like, how cool, dude. Like you literally you start off as a kid buying them, taking in every single word, taking in every single photo. And then eventually you like a guy that makes it onto the front cover of a magazine, you know.
Yeah, that's very cool.
But that was cool. Like I read that one there in South Africa, like that was cool for me because I made a deal with myself when I left South Africa in 2004. Like I was involved in like a lot of politics, like where it was just me and my mom, and I was like, right, I'm gone. I'm never going to do another motocross race in South Africa. So every time I went back, I did my training and riding. I never raced unless it was a supermoto race. And then actually in 15, I went back and did the South African Nationals. And dude, it was like probably one of the best things I've ever done in my life. You know, I got to see all my friends I used to race with. We used to, you know, did well. You know, obviously I was getting paid to go out there and race. So I took the racing quite serious, but then everyone kind of socialized afterwards. And it was quite cool, you know, and it's not until you go back that because you kind of like, you keep contact with a few people, but you lose contact with a lot of people. And it's not until you go back and you see kind of how people treat you and speak to you, like, I don't know, like these people have followed the last 10 years that I've been away, you know, like really like resonates quite cool.
Who are your sort of, I did have a question further on down the line that just sprang to mind when you were talking about friends. Who are your sort of closest friends around the paddock and that sort of thing during your racing? And did you obviously get close to any of the riders you race? And was that difficult sometimes to bang bars with them, or was that no issue?
It was kind of weird for me because it's very different. Like in South Africa, everyone's friends, like everyone's socialized. Like we would go out on a Tuesday night, Wednesday night. We're always with the motocross guys. Like if there's any shit, everyone kind of backed each other. And then when I came, but South Africa, you'll race at South Africa National on a Saturday. Everyone will go out on a Sunday night, on a Saturday night, and then everyone drives back to their houses on a Sunday. Where when you come to England, it's racing on a Sunday, so everyone stays in campus, so you don't really do that social side. So for me, it was kind of weird. But my best friend to start with was Brad Anderson. Me and Brad really, really got on. Kind of was like a bit of a love-hate relationship, but I knew Brad had my back and I had his back. We practiced hard together, and then we started doing well at the racing together. So Ando was cool. Who else did it then? Like later on, obviously JP's like one of my best friends now. Prince is one of my best friends. Coops always looked up to. Then like Elliot Banks Brown, we used to hang out with him quite a bit. I get on with everyone, like I'll stop and shoot the shit with anyone, but actually hanging out, me and Elliot had a cool nights out. Lewis Rose, I was good friends with Lewis Rose. And then a lot of my friends that I raced with in South Africa had actually moved to England to race and then stopped racing. So I used to hang with them. Stephen Dyson, Lee Loreserve. Who are, and then James Harrison, when I was teammates with Harrison, he was cool. Trying to think who else. But yeah, but not really to the stage where we were phoning each other to go out and party. And, where South Africa, that's what we did. Like we had places all through the week, race on weekends. It was very much, like there, I could phone 10 people if the shit hit the fan and we'd be sorted. We're here, like besides Coops, I'd pretty much struggle to find someone to come sort stuff out with me. My brother-in-law, we used to hang out with him a bit. Jason Dugan at the start. Scott Probert. Yeah, there's some good guys, dude. Probert was a good guy. Jason Dugan. Trying to think who else from then, dude. Like, and then, so they were like guys to like party with and hang with and stuff. But then, what I really enjoyed was hanging out with people like UC Vevelainen, Yoshi Atsuda, because like I was learning from those guys. Like the teen education, trying to learn a program. Because, dude, like I'm literally just all over the place. And then when I'm living with somebody that I can see has a program, you're like, wow, like I'm like speed wise, like I can run with these guys, like practicing, I could run with any of them. But through a season, and it's like, geez, I've got a long way to go, man. Like if you want to be a professional motocross rider, you need to step your shit up to kind of be on the same level as these guys. So those guys are good to learn from. Just trying to think, I don't want to miss anyone out, dude. Like I've got quite a shit memory, so I don't want to miss anyone. But like we had good times, like in Ireland was always a good time. Neil Thompson, Gordy. Ireland was always a good time. Who else? And then the Motivision boys, yeah, geez, they were like my brothers. Motivision boys, like the first 3 or 4 years, like they were my family. I lived with them, like Mark, Justin. Probably boys, Justin Chamberlain is one of my favorite people. Like, dude, straight down the line. Like, you never ever guess where you're at with the guy. You he either digs you or he doesn't dig you. Like, I like people like that where you kind of know exactly where you're at. So, yeah, made some good friends. But like when you compare, like now, I still class my best friends as my South African friends, even though I've been gone for 18 years. Like where like I'm friends with a lot of people here, but it's not the same friendship. Like we don't spend as much time, and they're like you playing TV games and you do motos together, and then you swimming at the pool together, you running together. Where here it's like everyone races, everyone goes away, everyone comes back again. Because the country's so big, everyone's all spread this job.
That was Ben Lambert Williams. He's registered it now, so I can see his name. I enjoyed racing.
That's one dude that could ride a bike, dude. Canada Hunt, Ben Lambert Williams on his day.
Yeah. Another one that makes me feel old. I'm sure he was on a 60 or an 80 when I raced.
Ask Ben if he remembers Sheffield Supercross after party.
Oh shit! Was that Haywire? Was that?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll smile if
yeah, I'm sure. Nev, have you got any superstitions or anything like that? I always ask all the riders.
I used to have
got any weird ones, or
I used to have a lot. Now, like I just put it all in the hands. Like now, I'm a full-on believer. Whatever's going to be is going to be. But I used to drop all my helmets.
Did you?
Yeah, dude. Like you drop them, like no matter what. Drop a helmet, like no problem.
I want to scratch it.
put one boot on. What else did I used to do? Like, and then cats. Like, those cats still freak me, dude. Like, if a black cat crosses me, yeah, it freaks me.
Oh yeah, black cat, yeah.
I literally try to run to the direction that it's going to freak it to go the other way. So that freaks me out. But no, like, dude, like, I think, you know, the older
he remembers.
You could write a book on that. Jeez.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, no, when you're young, eh? The things you do when you're young. But
yeah, exactly.
no, not now. Like, not now. Like, I believe, like, the path is chosen, and you just following the path, and whatever's going to be is going to be. So.
I will bring in Coops in a minute, otherwise you wonder what's going on.
Coops will be asleep by now with all the
I was going to say, he said to me, he goes, Jesus, he goes, my bedtime's at 8. I said, well, we needed to start a little bit later. You might have touched on this a little bit. I was going to ask what track event has been the best atmosphere that you've ever raced at, and why, but probably in the Nations.
So obviously that one that I spoke about the Des Nations is always good. Red Bull Pro Nationals was a good vibe. It's one of those things when you have it, you don't realize until it's gone.
Very good.
Pro Nationals was cool. The Arena Cross is always cool, dude. Supercross and Arena Cross. Just that whole vibe of being indoors is pretty cool. And then also being a kid, like we used to go watch the Sun City Supercross, and just the vibe, you know, the adrenaline you get watching it, and then to actually be the dude on the floor that's racing was always pretty cool. Just anything, like I like anything, like the custom scores thing, you know, like anything cool. When there's a lot of people watching creates a good vibe, you know.
What's the best atmosphere you'd say you've been at a meeting in a non-riding situation when you've been at it?
It's Watercross. It's Watercross in Holland. The after party was something I've never seen in my life.
No?
Yeah, or like if I was going to have that feeling again, I'd jump in a car right now and drive 5 hours for that.
That good, yeah.
Yes, like unbelievable. Just everyone free, like no judgment. Just everyone absolutely free, having the best time of their life. It was very cool.
Brilliant. Obviously, a lot of the riders, part and parcel of it, getting injuries. Have you had many injuries, Nev? Is there any injuries that you've had that have maybe stopped you from doing what you wanted to do, achieve what you wanted to achieve, or anything like
that? I had one that almost stopped the race. I don't know. Can you see my wrist there?
Yeah, we can see the scar. Yeah.
So my brother threw me through a window when I was a kid, and like almost died. Like obviously, it's quite close to the main vein, and they said when they put it back, they had to put it back like that so that everything would heal. And they said you never ride a motorbike again. So that was the first one. And then just random stuff, dude, like shoulders. All the shoulders have gone out. All the knees have been blown. Arms, collarbones, ribs. Broke both my feet at Namur in 2005. Snapped them both. And then I was actually thinking about this cycling. So broke both my feet at Namur. And then the doctor was like, I was going to heal. Get to 6 weeks, nothing's healed, dude. Like literally the bones are so far apart, there's no chance. So I've been on the couch. Like I've come to England to race motorbikes. I've been on Mark's couch for like 5-6 weeks. And then it was the Desert and British Championship. So I'm like, and so what they were going to do was they were going to pin it. So I said to Mark, let me come to Ireland with you and just race, dude. Like I'm over being sat at home. He's like, you got a broken leg. So I said, yeah, but they're going to fix it. Like whatever damage I do, they'll just fix it when they operate. So he's like, oh, I don't know about that. So he's like, go ride at Golden Barn. If you can ride, then I'll take you to Ireland because we're going anyway. So bullshitted him. It was obviously sore because he had a broken heel. Yeah. He's like, go to Ireland, dude. Finished 7th in the MX1 class in the first moto.
Wow.
But the deal we had was like, if I take you to Ireland, you're going to finish both motos. Like, I don't care, whatever. Like, if you say your legs are fine, you're going to finish both. And dude, so I finished 7th in the first one, which I thought was good for not riding for 4 weeks.
Very good. Yeah.
And then do the second one, I was toast. And I pulled in, and he was pissed. He was like,
it was about as rough as hell then, wasn't
it? Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I got a broken foot. I said, yeah, but you knew that before you came here. Yeah, this is the deal we had. You don't pull in from races. The first time you pull in is the easiest time. So yeah, broke both my foots then, and then like that finger. Do you see that finger?
It's a bit funny there.
Dude, like it's completely bent. I landed on Lewis Trickett, and then it was the year that I won one of the Red Bull championships and completely smashed it. But then I was racing Lenoir that year, so I had to keep racing, and then it's grown back funny. Broke that, quite a few broken bones. But the biggest thing was, I don't know if you know, one of the reasons why I stopped racing was I had an artery problem in 2018.
Yeah.
From cycling. Basically, it's a problem that cyclists get from being in the cycling position, the artery kinks. So when I was riding, and still to this day, like sometimes my leg will go dead, completely dead. And that's actually something. So there's a new thing, like two cyclists had the operation and died from it. And so I was like, I really wanted to extend my riding career a couple of years. So I had it done. And just recently now, like it's come bad again. So like I'm limping around now. Like every time I do a long run or if I ride a sand track, my leg will go dead completely because no blood goes to it. It gets stuck when going through the artery. So it's just
Jesus.
Josh Coppin said it actually. Like when you get to the age you're at now, you start cashing the checks that you wrote 10 years ago. So, yeah, no, they're definitely all coming back now.
Yeah, especially when it's freezing cold now, they all sort of seem to come alive.
No, for sure, man, for sure.
Reg put bones heal and chicks dig scars.
That's what they said, dude. But I haven't found a chick that digs them yet.
No, you'll have to say that that one on your end, it was a shark, Nev, and you punched it.
Oh no, dude, the one on my stomach. So I got one on my stomach and then one going down like my leg. That looks like a shark attack. I dig
that's
that
what
one.
you could do.
It's quite cool. Like now I'm putting on weight. It's actually folding over, so it's like made like a roll in my stomach. So it looks like it's in the
Oh mate. Oh, Mark's back with the banter. Is James Payton waiting for a cuddle in that bed behind Nev?
Yeah, I've got so many answers to that question, but I'm just scared if there's kids watching, you know.
Yeah. And that's spelt wrong as well, Mark, by the way. Just thought I'd be the spelling police there on Payton.
Ask him, why is there so many sheep in the back of his van at Foley? Is it just because he gives barks to Welsh riders, or is there something else behind that?
Yeah. What is that, Mark?
Interesting little thing I came across at Foley was all the sheep in the back of Mark's van.
Was there any other sports you like as well, Nev? I was going to ask you that. Is there any other sports you like watching BMX, or doing?
BMXing, I like to BMX. And then, dude, like I know it sounds stupid, like we race motorbikes, but I really, just from years of doing it, I really enjoy swimming, cycling, and running. So, like, I was doing like a lot of triathlons. Like while I was racing, that was kind of like the path that I was going to follow, like kind of transition from motocross to doing triathlons, and then did a couple and did well, dude. Actually got some podiums at some triathlons. And then like I realized it's just pain. Like motocross is pain, but you enjoy it. There's enjoyment with it. Where the triathlons, dude, is 2 hours of pain. And the only enjoyment is like you finished in front of the next dude.
Yeah.
I don't really find it buzz. So.
That's unreal.
I enjoy swimming. But BMXing is like the main thing. BMXing. Yeah, nothing too exciting, dude.
Did you ever try Speedway?
Did once.
Did you?
Yeah, and I wasn't good at it. I went to Lewis Roseman to Lakeside.
Lewis Rose, yeah. Lakeside, because that's
and like I kind of thought that I'd be able to do it quite well because like I'm quite good at like on a motocross bike, I'm really good at having the feel of like the slide and stuff. But it was just the angle and kind of like, and then dude, like the next day I could hardly walk. Whereas it's so awkward with like trying to put the leg out. But that's something I watched as a kid every Friday night. Actually, Leonard's wife's dad was Peter Murray. I don't know if you ever heard of Peter Murray.
Yeah.
He used to put on these events in South Africa and get like Gary Havelock, Chris Manchester. So we used to go watch it every Friday night, watch the Speedway, and just the smell of it, and really cool to watch. Grant Foley used to do it. So and then still to watch now, you know, like I still watch it. Well, up until a few years ago, like I used to watch it. And then when Lewis was doing it, I used to go watch him quite a bit. It's quite cool to see like it's like anything, you know, like British Championship has got a vibe, AMCA Racing's got a vibe, and then Speedway is a completely different vibe, you know, it's a completely different fan. You know, the mechanics are different, the riders have got a different vibe. Like I really enjoy seeing how everything's kind of different, you know.
Because obviously I raced motocross and then had a go at the Speedway, and my dad and uncle raced Speedway. But when I went on it, what did you feel of the whole when you shut it off and then it goes into this like neutral, like a car going down a hill? It just doesn't just slow down; it just goes into this weird neutral. You're like, shit.
I kind of got the hang of that. The thing I couldn't get the hang of was to kind of like weighted. Like my foot was aching all the time because I wasn't weighting the bike. My inside foot was aching because I wasn't weighting properly.
That's still shit.
That was like I got the hang of that. I actually used that because you actually chop it to get it out, don't you? So I actually got the hang of that, but I just couldn't get used to like finding a position to put the weight through the bike properly to keep it out and keep it balanced all the way through the turns. And dude, like I'd like even my boss, I tell my boss this like days, and he looks at me like I'm an idiot, but like, and it's probably one of the reasons why I don't do a lot of crossover sports is I hate being average at something. I hate being shit at something. Like I'm either going to work to get good at it or I'm just going to can it all together. And the older I'm getting, the more I just can't be asked to work at it. So if I'm not, I don't feel like I can get good at something quite quick, I just think I'll just stick to motorbikes because at least I can half do that okay, you know.
Right, let's get Coops in, shall we? Before I forget.
Let me just refill my drink quick, dude. 2 seconds.
Yeah, no worries. Hopefully he's going to be around. Don't want to forget you, Coops. Hopefully he's watching. Because I'm just about to send him the link. So, hope he's not in bed. Right. Shit, where am I? Paste. Right, hopefully Coops will get that. And we can get him in and get some stories going. Hope he's not asleep. We've been getting away with affairs in our chat. And
let me see if
hopefully he's probably going, Jesus, I'm off. Goes quick, doesn't it, when you start reminiscing and that? It's like the time flies, mate.
Super quick, guys.
It's like, it's quick. It's 10 already.
It's been 2 hours. Holy shit.
That's what I mean. This is what I mean. It just goes so quick and you just... Hopefully he'll get that. Someone said Fiona Cooper Speedway at the ranch.
Oh, that was cool. Speedway, one of the days when it was wet, there's no vans parked and we did some Speedway around. But see, on a motocross bike, I can do it. I can get it dialed on a motocross bike, no problem. But the Speedway bike, the angle, and just everything, I suppose if you took the time to do it, because obviously I think if you can ride a motocross bike, you can kind of cross over to most motorsports.
Yeah.
But it's just getting the time, because Andy kept pushing me to do it as well. Andy Lee. Andy was always, let's get into that. We'll get Michael to take you to do it. And Coops had to go. Coops is actually pretty good.
Is he?
Coops had to go on a Speedway bike, and Andy said he was actually pretty good at it.
Because I know Coop was always a fan from young when he was in South Africa and come over and all that. I know he knows all the riders of my dad's era and my uncle and that. So yeah, I'm sure he'll mention that when it comes in anyway about the Speedway. He always got a Speedway Star magazine, I know that. I think he still does. I wonder if he's going to get that because I've messaged him. Let me just check my Facebook.
Should I phone him?
He's online, so he's seen it.
Okay, right, yeah, you'll come on in.
Hopefully it'll pop up in a minute. He's probably thinking, these guys are taking the piss. Let's get some photos up while we're waiting. Look at this one. This is where I think you were showing the difference.
That's 2003, my last year in South Africa, and then 2019. And just a head tilt, like it's a very...
Yes, very thing, yeah.
The way I ride,
Number 4 there as well. Look.
Yeah. Actually, so we used to get 2 bikes a year. So that was my first bike. And then the second one I had that season, I actually copied the Carmichael number 4, the thick one. And then obviously I was sponsored by Fox that season. So, dude, I literally looked like a overweight Ricky Carmichael that year. It's quite cool.
Overweight Carmichael. See a nice one there of you and Brownie.
Yeah, there was... I really wish I could have beaten Brownie this year. I was quite disappointed that I didn't race with the guy more. But to be fair, by the time Fardy came, with the amount of energy and stress that AMCA season took, I felt flat. Something was missing, like I had like a bit of a spark missing by the time I got to that. And then I think I had too many Red Bull vodkas both of the nights, so kind of like...
they're deadly Red Bull vodkas. Don't feel like you're drinking. What did you... I always ask everyone this. I can't believe I haven't asked that yet. I think we talked about the track and that at Fox Hill, but do you like Fox Hill? Obviously, a lot of people know now.
Yeah.
Batting on about it in my hometown and all that.
So Fox Hills, that's the only British Championship overall I've got, is at Fox Hills.
See, special.
I like the old Fox Hills. I don't like Fox Hills as it is now. Like Fox Hills,
the layout now,
Fox Hills until about 2014. I loved it.
Yeah.
But now it's like where you start is where you finish. And like when you get to British Championship racing level, if you start,
I know what you're saying.
You're finish 6th. If you start 13th, you're going to finish 13th. Everyone's on. It's exactly the same,
So what do you think about the vet's going to be there then? And obviously you'll get your Brown is going to go back there and all that. And...
You know what I think? This is my personal opinion. I might be wrong. Obviously, it's just my own personal opinion. But so when you go to Farley Castle, right, everyone's going to go fast at Farley. Like a guy that's going to be, say, 3 seconds a lap quicker than you is going to be 1 second a lap. A guy that's 3 seconds a lap slower than you is going to be 1 second a lap slower around Farley. When we go to Fox Hills, I think it's going to be I think there's going to be a lot more gaps between the riders. You know, the guys that are riding all the time, especially if the track gets some ruts and stuff in it with the jumps. So I think it's like really going to spread it out a lot, if that makes sense. I don't think it's going to be like,
and all that.
Especially this last year at Farley, dude, where there was no ruts or anything. There was like, as you saw, 6 or 7 guys that. Well, there's actually about 10 guys that could hover around the top 3. Where I think next year is going to separate. You know, guys like Brownie that rides all the time.
Yeah.
You know, then guys that can still ride good but don't ride heaps, where they can get away with it at Farley. I think it'll be, and then a bike setup as well. You know, like you got to have a proper setup of a bike jumping down the hills, hitting the jumps. But the cream always, like Brownie's always going to be the man. The cream always rises to the top. Like a guy like Brownie's always going to be the guy to beat. You know, but then when you get a guy like Villapoto, you know, then there's talk of guys like Tommy and stuff like that'll be interesting to see those like the new school guys racing the old school bikes against old school riders.
Cool.
It's going to be a good event, you know. Like I really think it's going to be a pretty rad event.
What bikes do you think you'd ride there then?
I'm not sure. I think I'm going to go back to a 500. I think I'm going to go back to a CR 500 for that one again. I've got my bike is changed now, so the bike I really follow, Nick Moores has changed the engine characteristic of that bike because it was a very torquey engine where I like to rev a lot.
Yeah.
But what an awesome bike, dude. Like JP built an awesome bike for that. So I'll test that again and see if that's different. I just think for the starts and stuff, the 500, it goes pretty good, you know.
I just Coops has messaged me saying I'm trying to log in.
Did you send him the same link as you sent me? Just click the link, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that's all I know as far as I know. Oh, come on, Coops. You missed the Speedway chat already as well.
That was a cool photo. That's one of the coolest photos that was from that race that I did. Yeah,
I really like that one. Mate. I spotted it straight away and I was like,
loading it up. In fact, I actually got one like that from the weekend from when I was riding that aluminium frame 500. The guys got a photo very similar to that.
Oh, right. Yeah,
but the thing is, it's not even like, you know, like you can do like an exaggerated photo like that. That's what I think about those photos. Is they're not actually exaggerated. That is actually happening.
Got the roost, the accelerating out the corner. I love them. I look for them when I take a picture and that sort of thing. You can feel the speed there. It's not just a picture.
Yeah. That was a cool day. You know what happened that day? Like an honest opinion on that day.
Yeah.
So I went that day and I really wanted to I knew it was going to be a good day. Like I got that new Fox kit. I really wanted to get a cool video and it was hot, dude. It was like 32 degrees.
Shit.
So I went that day to get some videos, rode more than I should. I ended up getting a race with some dude in the last session and then went to the AMCA race the next day and I completely spanked myself the day before. I was leading the last moto, like fought hard to get into lead and then dude, my body just cramped like with 3 laps to go. And I thought when I got home, like, was losing that race worth an Instagram video? Probably was, actually.
I don't know if you've seen that on the old Facebook. I've seen that, Elliot. He's got that trades thing on Facebook. They got some sick bikes on there as well.
What? How did the hybrid?
Yeah. How did the hybrid CR500 ride and feel against your steel frame, Nev?
Yeah, it's a lot different. Hey, like. One thing I did notice was the brakes. Like the brakes are obviously a lot better. And then the chassis is a lot more aggressive. So obviously the old 500s are like a very tame chassis and everything's like a big arc where I found you could be like a lot more aggressive. You know, it's quite weird, but you actually turn a motorbike on the brakes, don't you? Like it takes brakes to turn a bike, I think. And when you haven't got sharp brakes, you make like a big arc. And when you have got sharp brakes, you're able to turn a lot tighter. And that's one thing I did notice was you could, you know, like brake and turn. And standing up into the corners, like you're a lot higher. So like you can just charge stuff a bit more where you're always conscious on the old steel frame. You're always conscious to kind of like stay light on your feet so that you're not going to drag foot pegs up takeoffs or when you're riding ruts into turns, you always got your toes tucked in, kind of anticipating the drag. With that bike, I didn't have that feeling. I felt like I was on a modern bike quite high up from the ground.
So is that what made you think about going back to a riding a 500 then? Just your love of the 2 strokes and you just thought,
it was just something I always wanted to do, like was ride a 500. And then again, I was racing that AMCA championship. I was going good and getting good results, but I just didn't feel good about myself and the way I was riding. And then before Farley Castle, me and James went to Cullum to test the bike I was racing. And dude, I had such a blast. I was like, this is why I ride, is to get this feeling. And then, so I put a video on, sick video, dude, like rating turns at Cullum. And then a guy down the road from me messaged me. I said, I need one of these in my life. And a guy like 10 miles down the road said, dude, I've got one of these. I started building up. It's all in black bags and boxes.
Okay.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll buy it. So I bought it. And dude, honestly, it's one of the coolest things I've ever done. And actually, when my uncle died, he left me some money. And then I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to take that money. I'm going to build this bike and it's going to be a memory for him. So it's actually quite cool. And then to have it as such a cool, like that bike is I don't know who's done the engine, but even JP's taken it apart and been like, this is a special, like any of the 500s I've ridden that don't come close to that bike. That's the one. Yeah, dude. It's.
I love that. That's
you know, that's actually Gavin's helmet. Gavin left that helmet
in
for me because he wanted, he was going to get a JMB replica sprayed and I was going to give it to my South African friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought I'd just take the piss one day and take a practice in. And so I guess there's one memory I got left of him, having that helmet in the garage.
Yeah, that's very cool.
I reckon Coops has got drunk on that gin and he's
he's just said, I don't have Safari, so I'm trying to download it. Oh,
yeah, wait, let me phone him quick.
Come on, Coops, don't show your age on the gadgets. That we all have problems with. Gotta love that. Oh no, it's gone AWOL. I know that I can just imagine him now sat there trying to work it all out. Brilliant.
Coops, you stuck, bro? Yeah, but
it was fuck.
What, on your laptop? Can you not go onto the internet on your laptop then?
Sometimes, Nev, they have to like upgrade something to like sometimes. So that's probably what he's had.
So then go from your phone, bro. Just click the link from your phone in and then it'll open up on your phone, I reckon. Oh, shit.
Oh, right. That's why then. Certain phones it might not work, maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. May's number there. Yeah, you're right there, Mark. I remember John May on his. When I was in the 125s, he was on 100 Kawasaki on number 98. I think he's more than me.
No stress if you can't sort it, bro.
Come on, Coops, download.
I think he's getting it dialed now.
Download.
Yeah, are you in?
Oh, yeah, he's coming in the bottom of my screen.
Sweet.
I think it's working.
Oh, sweet, dude. See you now. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Who's this guy?
The legend is Coops.
Wait, talking about legends. Are you in, Coops?
I'm in. Bloody hell, you guys keep me waiting, eh?
I just said to him, the time's flying. I said to him, shit, I better get Coops on before he forgets, and he'll be pissed.
Yeah, I hope Nev, check me out.
Check the Fox, repping the Fox, baby.
Yes.
Nice. Is
like
that
like that.
26?
Okay, so I've got this very frustrating thing where because now my camera's here, but I'm seeing the monitor here. So it's gonna look
that's
like
just the one, dude. That's just the one, dude. That's not working in real life. That's just the figment of your imagination from the one.
It's because I haven't had enough wine. That's what it is. So it's really weird. I'm looking at you, but I'm actually not looking at you. You're over here.
The one, dude. I'm telling you, like that sounds like wine to me.
Okay, you guys. So while you were talking, you I shouldn't swear. It's the wine.
That's all right. It's all right. It's all right. People swear. It's all good. Coops.
You had a shoey helmet. Now you won't believe it. Wait right there. I had it downstairs, but now you made me move because of Safari.
Dude, watch going down the stairs drunk, dude. You're gonna hear like a big crash.
Is he gonna have that? Is he gonna have that shoey that you mentioned earlier? That white one with the pink over the top, maybe. I don't know.
He might surprise us and do a proper shoey and pull that wine into a shoe and drink it.
Proper shoey. Yeah,
that's the kind of shoey we like.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. It is
no
that one.
ways. No, that's not the one I'm talking about.
No,
That is one of them, though. I remember that one.
That's the next generation from that one I'm talking about. That's the next generation shoe.
Yeah, so this is still dirty from the last race in 1993.
Wow.
No ways.
Yeah.
Is that the Ramirez sticker on the back? Is that a Ramirez sticker? The monk, the frog.
The frog, yes.
Yeah, Ramirez. I remember that.
So I had this helmet in South Africa, and I came over here and used it for 91, 92, and 93. And still, the peak was broken, and I had to duct tape it together. And that was 93.
Early day struggles.
Yeah,
that's the first VFX. That's the first shoey VFX. That is.
Yeah, I actually loved that. I bought that in South Africa.
I got it, dude. I like that, Coops.
I'm gonna just lose you for a second. I'm gonna make a plan with my laptop here because it's driving me a bit nuts.
No worries. See if
actually no, the battery's gonna go flat. So does it
Mark's
look weird if I'm not looking at the camera?
No, you can do that. That's fine.
That's cool,
okay, it's easier for me because then I'm actually looking at your face if I'm looking here.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mark, not as nice as the bell. No, not quite.
Better fit a bit better than the bell, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
my friend Mr. Owen, who does this Owen Developments, he's just got one of your replica bows now as well.
Oh wow, cool! That was in 96, I think they did the replica.
Yeah, because he messaged me saying, "Whose is this?" And I was like, "That's Cooper's." Yeah, I was like, "Get it."
I actually quite like them. They were in those years they were quite revolutionary because they had the removable pads that you could wash and everything, which was actually quite cool.
Yeah, it was very good. I'm trying to find a picture of it as well because he brought it up not long ago and it was mint.
The trouble is now, you guys have been talking so long, and I had so many things that I wanted to jump in and start going. Hey, but
I forgot.
And now I've forgotten about it all. But again, it's probably the wine.
We were talking about Speedway, Coops. He said that you was good at the Speedway. We were talking about the Speedway.
No, he didnn't say that because I was watching.
Talking camp stories, dude. We're talking camp stories.
I was probably as good as Nev, which according to him wasn't very good.
No, Andy, dude. Honestly, Andy said you're good, dude. Andy said like Coops could be the bollocks in the Speedway.
You know, they came and pulled me in. They were like, "It's not motocross. You don't do 40 minutes out here."
I did that as well. Here we go. Right, I've got it up. Is it going to come up on here? There we go.
That's it.
Yeah,
very cool.
Straight away, I was like, "That's Cooper's."
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And it was JLF, I think, that did that.
Yeah, I think it was. I think I can see it.
Do you remember, Coops? So you know they were saying about the races I watched you. Do you remember coming back to Kalami for like a super series?
Yeah, like that was in 96.
That's the first time I watched you race, I think.
Okay, that was with Morris then. Justin Morris came over.
Yeah.
That was actually a very cool series.
That was the first time.
That was when Grant was still, I think he was on 125s, Grant Langston. And he was like already doing really, really well.
Yeah.
And then a few years later he obviously was top man.
Who's these guys?
Check that out, Nev.
That's cool.
See that?
Canada Heights?
What are you talking about? Look at that Speedway style.
That's Speedway through and through, look.
Exactly. And look at me. I'm like tripoding, going, "Oh, I don't want the back end to slide."
You know who actually commented on that photo? It was Justin Chamberlain. I'll never forget because I was like amped to see that photo. Like obviously because that would have been the first year we ever raced together in the British Championship. And Justin was like, it's kind of like you can see like there's 10 years between these photos. Like Coops, he's like the man winning races, and then you like a young dude just trying to come through. You know, like there's very like contrast in styles and stuff. You know.
Yeah, that was cool. That was Canada Heights, eh?
Yeah.
You said
you said to me that year that you're in Cape Town, and I think you were really like waiting a long time to get a bike from England. And you only done like 3 or 4 like 30-minute motors, and then I think you won both motors that day.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that was I had a nightmare of an off season because I went home to train, but I didn't actually have a bike, and I bought a bike from from Canada, and it got stuck. It was a long story, and yeah, it was a bit stressful leading up into the season when you don't have a bike to ride. I mean, you know what that's like, and they're stressing like crazy. But
I kept texting you, yeah, dude, I've just done a 40 at Meeple. Yeah, I'm riding sweet, dude. Got the bike set up. I'm sure I'll be getting back at zone 7.
Oh yeah.
Dude, but that's pretty special to like not have a proper off season, then beat guys like UC and Yoshi and Huck and all those dudes at the first round.
It was pretty cool. I wanted to mention something, Nev. That, you were talking about parties and stuff, and actually, Nev and I
might be watching this, so be careful what you say.
No, but Nev and I never got to party together like during our careers, because basically I think our careers only overlapped by about 3 years, I think 3 or 4 years. And so basically we've partied since we both kind of retired. And a friend of ours came over from South Africa a couple of years ago, and we decided to go out for a night in Northampton. But I'd arranged for the next morning to go and see Trevor, who obviously was the owner of Multitech, the team I raced for so many years. Mm-hmm. And I'd arranged to go see Trevor, and I said to him I'd be at his place at about 9:30 in the morning, but it's about a 2.5 hour drive from me. And I'll never forget, because and Nev will tell you, I'm super punctual. Like if I tell you I'm going to be somewhere, I'm always there. I never ever fail. And Nev got me so wasted that night that I woke up at the time I was supposed to be in Colchester, which was 2.5 hours away. And I remember stressing so much. I think it took me 5 minutes from the time I was in bed to being in my car and phoning Trevor. And I actually think I was still drunk, which I shouldn't say. It was very, very bad. But anyway, it was pretty special. So I blame Neville for that. And also, whilst you guys were talking, I was thinking about this. I blame you both for a broken hand and a swollen hip. Both of you, because
I feel bad about that, dude. I told someone today I feel bad about it. I feel responsible for that.
Well, you are responsible, because you were the first one. Nev was the first one that got me in, saying, just come ride my bike. And I hadn't ridden for, it was basically 15 years. Yeah. And around about the same time, Lee, you started saying, come and do this reunion. And slowly, between the two of you, I started actually getting excited about it. So excited that I threw myself down the track.
Caused you a lot of pain.
I never even made it to the event.
No. How is it now, anyway?
The hip's not great. The hand's okay. I rode on Saturday actually with Ned for the first time. Yes, I think it's about 4 months since the crash. So I rode on Saturday. And it was okay. I mean, the riding is embarrassing, but the hip and stuff was not too bad.
No, it's not embarrassing, man.
So we'll see you in April, Lee. We'll see you in April.
Yes, that'll be beautiful, mate.
Yeah.
It's all cool, no pressures. It's just
no pressure.
legends laps and all that. It's all good. Take your time.
Yeah.
There's Coop struggles to do that, dude. That's why he breaks hips and arms.
That is a problem. It's I don't know.
It's a problem. It's a big problem we got.
Get out of that, but...
You know, a few shots of tequila to just loosen things up before you ride, dude. Then you'll be more.
Yeah, actually, that's good. That's not actually maybe a good idea. Maybe wine.
Coop, someone's put, did Trevor Avery ever finish the carbon fiber push bike for you? If so, did it stay in one piece? Not like the prototypes I heard about.
Well, then actually, no, he hasn't finished that. That's still a really big project ongoing, and it's still going to be very successful, but he's already spent years on it. But the last 2 years, he's been a bit distracted with doing building. He's been he bought the farm opposite Wax Cone, actually opposite the track, and he's been renovating the buildings and actually building offices there where the bicycle, all the R&D is happening for the bicycle. So that is coming, but it's probably still another 12 to 18 months away. And I've contrary to the rumors, I haven't actually broken any yet, but I probably will.
Yeah. I know you both like cycling. Do you cycle together? I know Nev's has mentioned that you like cycling. I know you like cycling. Have you cycled together and done all that
Dude,
together? Or?
Me and Coop cycling together is like me and James Stewart going across a supercross set of whips together. It's not even. Coop's will be cruising, and I'll do my hardest to hang on to the back of him, and it'll still be like a struggle for me.
No. But we do ride a bit together when weather and work and stuff permits. Do you remember when we got caught in the rain a couple of years ago, Nev?
Dude.
We were actually, it was summertime. We were in shorts, and it was a beautiful day. And the next thing, the heavens opened up, and I remember we were hiding under a bus shelter. And Nev had his, because he always Instagrams everything. He was video in the rain, going, why?
Who said come and move to England all those years ago? Whose idea was that?
Exactly.
Ben Piggin has brought up Lee asked Nev about his crash at my mate's supercross track down Sutton Bridge at the back of the lorry yard. Flew off a double, was mad. Do you remember that, Nev?
Dude, yeah. Almost died, man. Like me and my buddy Lewis Rose, that Speedway dude that I sent you about.
Yeah.
We were messing about. Like it was this supercross race, but big doubles, dude, like gnarly doubles. And we were messing about racing. And I came next to him. And then we were going up to this big double together. And then for some reason, I freaked out. I was like, it looked like his angle was coming close to me. So I'm like, shit, dude. But like this is on the base of the takeoff of like a Buddha, like a steep Buddha. And I'm like, oh, no ways. Like if I hit him in the air, we're both going down. So I'm like, let me jump to the side. So, dude, like the size of a double, I don't even know. I'm not so good at distances, but like the size of like almost a supercross triple. Like, take off, and dude, like randomly on the side of the track, he's like a load of sand that they're using to build the track. Dude, I've just cased this sand, like obviously just soft sand, and just cartwheeled. And I'm like, like when you actually think you're gonna die, dude. I was like in the air, I'm thinking, what the hell's gonna end? Luckily, I just got away with it. But yeah, it was, and they got it on video as well. Got it on video. All you see is me, like we hit the jump together. I just veer off one way. And then you just see me going cartwheeling, just see my legs going over the handlebars. And yeah, but I was probably about 10 years younger, dude, so I bounced a bit easier in those days.
Yeah. Biggest crash you've had, Coops, would you say?
How long do we have?
I love the way you went,
Yeah. There's loads, but I don't want to go into that too much. But I suppose probably the biggest one was one that no one ever saw, and was in qualifying at a track called Cingoli in Italy. And yeah, it was probably the most scared I've been for a few seconds while I'm in the air, because I landed. It was you sort of had the single jump where you jump quite hard, and you had to land and break into a tabletop that jumped into a quarry. And I was really struggling in qualifying, so I hit the single jump as wide open as hard as I could, and I landed in the braking bumps for the next bit, and it actually ripped my left hand off the handlebar, so it jerked the throttle open. So I hit the next bit where you're supposed to be braking, because it was a sheer drop. It was a bit like a Fox Hills down that kind of distance.
Yeah.
And I literally hit that with one hand off and the throttle wide open. And it launched me as I took off, and I didn't even see. I was actually going backwards through the air, catapult. But no, it was like there was no crowd or anything. There was really quiet. But I was very lucky. I landed into the bank and rolled down, and the only thing I did was damage the nerve. So it wasn't painful, but for the next sort of 6 months, I couldn't lift my arm up. But it was just nerve damage, but no break. So I was very lucky. So.
What about Coop? Tell me about the one. So, like, when you race in South Africa, like in England, you got like posts and stuff along the side of the track. So, in South Africa, you get like tires, like car tires and tractor tires. Tell them about this. Was like, that's pretty much like the end of the last kind of like gnarly thing you had when you crashed at Springfield and were like almost died.
Oh yeah. The trouble with that is I was so knocked out. I don't remember any of it.
It's probably best off.
But that was bad. I mean, I broke 6 ribs, 2 of them into my lungs. I dislocated my sternum, separated my shoulder. I was concussed for months. I mean, my friends actually booked my best friend Dean in Cape Town. He actually booked a appointment with me with a neurosurgeon, because my personality had changed so much. And
Yeah,
he
you said
phoned,
about
he
this,
phoned me.
yeah.
I think I may have told you about this. He phoned me one day and said, "Don't be angry with me, but I want you to meet me tomorrow at the hospital." And I was like, "Okay, why?" And he went, "Well, you've changed. You don't answer your phone. You don't return calls. You don't talk to anybody." And anyway, so I went to go see this brain specialist, and he said, "No, it was I would recover, but it obviously when you have a severe head trauma, it has a massive impact on things later." So that was probably the worst crash, and it's one of the things I regret. Actually, I kind of got talked into racing when I went after I retired, and I'd already kind of left the sport in a way, and then sort of went back, and it was not the right way to go back really, and I ended up crashing and kind of thinking, why did I do that? But anyway, I'm still here.
Did you two have any good battles in the British Championships together?
The only time I can remember. No, the only time I can remember is when you were having a bad day at Desert Martin. That day I was talking about when I rode the broken foot.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you having a bad day, and then
Yeah.
you came past me, like, and I was like, "Fucking Coops is meant to be winning this British Championship," and he's just passed me. I was like thinking, "Shit."
That was one of my. You have certain moments in your career which are really like low points, and that was one of the lowest for me. And it was a shame because I love Desert Martin. I've had some of my best races there. In fact, one of the races with Gordy in 2000, when Lee, when you asked Nev what his favorite race was, or his most enjoyable race, and it made me think of myself. I was thinking, okay, what's my most enjoyable? And it was actually Desert Martin with Gordy, because we literally banged bars for the entire race. It was really incredible. And but yeah, that one in 05 was such a low point for me. It's just physically, emotionally, and everything. And I always still laugh about it because I remember sitting on the start line. I can't remember, Nev, if it was the first moto or the second moto, but I was on the start line. The 15-second board was up, and it was about to turn to 5, and I still couldn't get my bike started. I was kicking it, and the 450s were not easy bikes to kick. They're quite like physically quite demanding. And by the time, anyway, Nev tapped me on the shoulder because I was like freaking. I was kicking and kicking and kicking. I think my heart rate must have been about 180. And Nev tapped me on the shoulder and he went, "Dude, your fuel's off." And literally my fuel tap was off. And I know that's like, it's ridiculous because I mean, I've been professional for 16 years, but I used to be super paranoid about leaving the fuel off. So I always used to check it. Like it was one of those habits that you have. And in those last sort of 3 years, I was working with Steve Payne, who was an amazing mechanic, like best mechanic I could have sort of wished for at the time. And he was so sort of meticulous that he always did the fuel for me. And I became so comfortable with that I never checked, which was quite a good thing because I sort of let go of that. But for once, he hadn't put it on. And like Nev saved me because I got the bike going. It literally fired and the 5-second board had already turned. So everyone was going for the gate to drop, and only then did the bike fire. And I put it in gear and the gate dropped and I went. And I remember going into the first turn and I thought, I feel like I've already done like my 40 minutes, or 30, whatever they were.
Emotionally wrecked.
It was a tough day.
Good eyes though, Nev. Jesus.
I'll tell you where we did race together. The only time that we've raced together, like properly raced, is supercrosses. Some of the supercrosses we did in like 04 and 05, we had some battles. I think that's the only time.
Yeah, probably. I think maybe would have been Cardiff or
Cardiff, Sheffield.
Yeah.
And then also just catching qualifying laps off you had the GPs in 05. That was always a race, dude. Trying to take a qualifying lap out of you.
Yeah. Actually, I think you did that at Ling the one time as well in 05.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were saying
Namur. I think Namur also got a lap off in Namur to get in.
Because earlier you were talking about tracks that you didn't get on with, and it's quite funny because the tracks that you were good at was not the tracks that I liked really, but it's because I was from Cape Town, you from Johannesburg. So it's kind of tracks. My tracks were like Ling, Cullum, and actually, like you mentioned, Torrington. So Torrington was one of the first tracks where I really started to feel at home because it was proper rough, rutted and whatever. And I remember racing there, I think in 1991, and actually finally going, I'm now starting to get into the groove, because before that, some of the tracks, like Neville was saying earlier, like where you look at these guys that are just going so fast on off cambers and really rocky, stony tracks, which in South Africa, in sort of when I was growing up, they wouldn't let you race on rock and stuff like that. There was a lot of safety sort of protocols that made the tracks very normal and safe. Even, I mean, we had a lot of jumps, obviously, but they would never have allowed us to ride on a track like Namur. And then obviously you end up becoming professional and going and racing a GP, where you go, how's this even possible? Like going past trees wide open in fifth gear, and it's only 2 meters apart. You know, it's just quite something.
I've got someone here you might know. It says it's Coops. It's Brooksy here.
Terry.
How was that triple off the start? How was the triple off the start at Cardiff Supercross that I came over and seen and met Nev there?
Yeah, that was 2004. I think that was the first time they ever had a Supercross in the Millennium Stadium, like with the roof on and stuff. Yeah, so it was a big event, and Terry, one of my best friends from Cape Town, runs a successful estate agency down there, and he came over to visit. So he enjoyed that, because I was a bit crap actually the whole event, but the one thing I had going for me was I was jumping the triple right out of the start, so I wasn't doing particularly great, but I'd always end up jumping the triple and then leading for a few laps and then sort of fading back to wherever. But
did you race that as well, Nev? Did you race that, Nev?
Yeah, I think I did both classes. I was doing the MX2 class and then just doing the MX1 class to make some money. But dude, I remember the first person to jump that was Tommy Searle in a KX125.
Okay.
On my 250F, like you had to go like a little bit wider in the turn. There's a little hump before it, scrub the hump, and everything that bike had to get over that triple. Nunny finished second that night. It was Mark Alessi, Coleman, and I was third. Nunny didn't jump it, won the whole night on a factory KTM 125.
Yeah.
That's how big that jump was, dude.
Yeah, it was just one of those.
I don't think Gordy jumped it. I don't think Gordy jumped it either.
No, there's a lot of guys that didn't. It was a bit awkward, and but I was the reason Terry brings that up, because he thought I was mad because I jumped it right from the start, like literally out, off the start, so out of the first turn, being all messy, so you couldn't choose your line. But I mean, that was one of the things that I was good at, was sort of doing jumps, but I was so crap the rest of the track that I led the first lap, and then someone obviously came past me in the whoops and whatever. So.
Someone's just mentioned here, Graham Lightfoot's put Coops jumping the sand pit at Hawkstone was the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean that's still I can still remember that, because I remember being so nervous the whole night before, because the day before I'd walked it and I'd made up my mind that I was going to jump it. And I remember going around the first few laps of practice, and all I was thinking about was that bomb hole, none of the rest of the track. So I was literally riding around the rest of the track, standing up, and in my head I was just thinking about the bomb hole, and I was literally like sort of almost shaking with adrenaline. And then there was the whoop section before, and then you turn right, and then there was the run up to it. And I can still remember it, like coming out as I came out that right-hander, and once I decided and I was committed, all the nerves went away. I didn't actually. Once I was in the power band and going for it, there was no fear anymore, and it was just the most amazing thing to clear it that first time. Was just really, really cool. But I shall tell you the sad thing about that is that because of doing that, I qualified 2 seconds a lap quicker than anybody else, and I still didn't win that day. Jockey Carlson whooped me. So. Just goes to show.
That's what they say. Jump for show, corner for dough, my man.
That's it.
That's it. Has there ever been any jumps that you've been you thought about a bit, Nev, before you did them and made you nervous? And
dude, like now I'm bad at that now. Something's wrong with my head now. Like when I was like younger, I always second guessed everything. Whether it's a mountain bike now, or we went to Spain and I jumped some big stuff in Spain, and it's kind of like now that I don't race, like I feel like I search for that adrenaline in some other places. And there's like a split-second decision, isn't there? And like always, like when it was 50-50, I'd always back down from it. And now, dude, there's not many times now. And you do stuff and it's, yeah. Now you kind of think, and it's like, yeah, I shouldn't be doing stuff like that. But there's a lot of stuff now, like, but now, like, I actively search for shit like that. Like,
you shouldn't be doing stuff like that now.
No, but dude, I actively need that to kind of like bring the serotonin level in my brain to like a level that's acceptable.
Yeah, I'm with you. Someone's put about Paul's Husky days. Have you ever rode a Husky, Nev? Don't know if you have or not.
I have, yeah. I did. I raced South Africa 2001. I was on Husqvarna, and then this last year on Husqvarna, and then when I went from the Hondas to Husqvarna, so I've done a half a season, 1 season, and then a season in South Africa. I've done 2.5 seasons on Husqvarna.
You liked yours, Coops? I know you had a few issues with some.
No, I mean, look, the Husky days were very interesting because we had a lot of disappointment, but I'd still say probably it was my favorite time because between Trevor, myself, and Carl, my mechanic, and the engineers in Italy, Marco especially, we did so much development. It was like our little baby. And I must say, like when I look back and I'm still in touch with Marco, the engineer from Husky, it was just an amazing time because we took a bike that, if I remember correctly, they hadn't changed it since 1989, and there was a really good British rider that rode them, and I know his name, but I'm going to blame it on the wine. Damn it, he was really good on the 250s. Anyway, they hadn't done any development since then, so it was roughly like an 11, 12-year-old bike that we took on. And we spent the whole of 99 kind of developing it. By 2000 got it really good, and it was a sort of a magical time. Unfortunately, we had a few breakdowns which pretty much cost me the championship in 2000, which was again probably one of the most painful losses I've ever experienced. That one and in 96 as well, when I lost to Robbie. Those two hurt me the most with breakdowns, but it was still a really amazing time and a great bike. And Trevor's actually still got that bike in storage, which is quite nice.
Someone's here, Patrick Corrigan. I think he's from America. He's put, Lee, can you ask him if they know Jason Buttle? He raced in the USA in 1990, but he was from the UK.
That's probably before Nev's. That's before Nev's time, because that's just the time that actually 1990 I was still in South Africa, so I don't know that name. No.
Okay, cool.
But that's not saying much because I wouldn't have. We must remember in those days it's not like today where
social media,
everybody knows everything. Like as Nev was alluding to earlier, like I was the same. I used to pray for those magazines to come out. Like my mom would buy me one, I don't know, once every 2 months or something, and I'd be looking through and seeing Johnny O'Mara, David Bailey, Thorpe. I mean, it was just like, it was just heaven for me to look at that stuff. Yeah. But it was very limited, the info that we had.
Someone's asked here what you both think of Canada Heights track. What do you both think of that?
Favorite, dude. Love that place. That place has saved my ass so many years. I'll never forget in 2000 and I'm going to say it because I don't care. 2006, 5 or 6. It was like my first year or second year getting paid, and then I think I went from 10 to 15 grand getting paid. And the first race at Ling, I said I hate the sand, and lost my goggles in both motos. And so I finished 14th. I finished 14th overall for the day. And I remember Mark's dad saying, "What the hell are we paying this dude for? This is a joke." And then luckily the next week, or the next weekend, was 2 weekends later, was Canada Heights, and I finished 4th in the MX1 class. And I got so many instances like that. And then the same one, was probably the closest I've ever come to Coops, was my first year on 450 when you won and I finished 4th. Canada Heights was always a track that was
that was 2005.
2005, yeah. And then 6 was the year when I went 14th and then 4th.
Yeah.
We'd and then also all the Red Bull races, later on in the day, every time I went there, I knew it was on for something about that place. From the very first time I rode it was just the soil, and you could just push so hard with the soil, you know, like it's very forgiving, like that dark soil. And then especially back in like 6, 7, and 8 coops when we were doing it, like it was very technical.
Yeah.
I think now it's a little bit more technical, but for 5 or 6 years they've been quite easy and funnel into one line everywhere.
Okay.
And then the people as well. Like I really think the people that live around there, like
I've got to say that was Canada Heights was one of those very special places, and I think because of the area, the demographic, it was always in my career the British Championship that had the most spectators. So the atmosphere was always quite electric there. Like because sometimes you could go to a British and there'd be like 3,000 people, but you go to Canada Heights and there'd be 10 to 15,000. It was really a big, like a really, really big jump. And I mean, similar to you, Nev, I've got such good sort of memories of that. It was the first place I had a really great result as well. I think in '92, and it was when Jeremy Watley was on a 500 Action Workshops Kawasaki, really talented rider, obviously. I mean, him, Thorpe, Robbie, and I had a really great result. And it's just since then, I just loved that. I just loved that place. And it was the proper kind of rough, really good crowds. Just amazing.
Makes me just like talking about stuff like that makes me really want to go ride Canada Heights. Like,
yeah, yes, I'd like to do a meeting there one day. It'd be cool.
Oh, it would be good.
Definitely. Might be able to get Nev there if it works as well one day. So Dick Laws just put, do you remember shaving Trevor's hair at Fox Hill after winning a GP race, Coops?
Yeah, I do remember that. I wish it was winning a GP. I didn't win. I came second, but actually it was really cool because we had I told Trevor at the beginning of that year, I said, I'm going to finish on the podium and in a GP. And when I finish on the podium, I'm going to shave my head. And Trevor D's typical thing, you bloody idiot, whatever. But because we had a cool relationship. And anyway, it was, I don't know, about a month or two later, I said to him, you know what, screw that. I'm going to shave my head first and then I'm going to finish on the podium. So he went, okay, well, I'll tell you what, if you finish on the podium, I'll shave my head. And I went, really? And he went, yep, because he always had really long hair. Still does, actually. And then at Fox Hills, I got second overall. And before I even got changed, I was still in my kit. We went, right, Trevor, sit down. And Colin Dugmore, remember old Geek, he also came over and we sat Trevor down and my friend Alan Boddington as well, because he said, I'm also going to have to shave my head. So myself and Colin Dugmore shaved both of their heads right there in the paddock while we were still in our kits. It was very cool.
Someone's mentioned about what was the best Honda you raced. We've talked to Nev about riding likes the 500 Honda. Did you ever ride the 500 at all?
I did actually ride a 500. So my little claim to fame is I rode a 594 in an Irish International. I beat Joel Smets. I was so excited.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I rode one again in 95, but it wasn't so cool. It was the Des Nations in 95 in the Czech Republic, and I rode just a stock standard 500 Honda, which was quite disappointing to race against those guys. But again, it was a bit of a disappointment because the British team had won the year before, and then I got to wear the number one plate, which was the most incredible thing you can ever imagine. But think about the pressure of that as well. Like it was, and I was the weakest link in the team by far, and we ended up finishing 4th overall. So it was a bit tough to deal with.
Didn't the bike get nicked? A bike get stolen?
Yeah, so we were supposed to have Dave Thorpe's factory 500 from, I think it was from his 89, because remember the bikes didn't change much. So this was 1995, and we could slot his factory engine into the stock 95 frame, but it was delivered to my mechanic's house, I think on the Tuesday night prior to the Des Nations, and that night it was stolen. So we ended up with a stock standard, literally just a stock standard bike, and rode that. But yeah, I mean, look, they were great bikes. But my favorite was the 450, like Steve Payne's 2005 450 Honda. That was just ridiculous. Best bike I'd ever ridden, really.
I was going to ask you both this. Did you either of you have any teammates that you didn't really click with, didn't really get on with well when you was a teammate with someone?
I'm gonna go no comment on this one, dude. I'm passing.
I've just been thinking about this. I was thinking, should I ask that?
Yeah,
no, you should.
The Cubes answer that one, dude.
Yeah, I'll take that one. You know what? I've actually been very lucky in a lot of ways. I rode on my own most of the time as well. Mm-hmm. The team was always quite small. I mean, thanks to Trevor, because he sort of bailed me out in '95, and we created our own team, and I was pretty much on my own through that period. But then I rode. In fact, the first time I actually had a proper teammate, I think, was in 2001. Was Lila Reserve.
Lee would have been a cool teammate. Yeah, fuck.
Lee. So, and I mean, I got on fine with him, but he was racing the 125 or MX2 class, and I was MX1. So we didn't sort of spend much time together, but he was cool. And then in '02 I rode with, and I just started smiling. So it was Yusuf Everlane and Yoshi at Suto. And I mean, they were just really, really great. I mean, we had so much fun. It was really, really cool. So I mean, it's quite nice to not have any friction with your teammate. You know, it's like we obviously wanted to beat each other, but there was no issues whatsoever. And we used to sort of share even testing advice, you know, like with bike setup, and we'd share. I mean, in fact, I was in Yoshi had got hurt, and his physio from Japan came over, and he helped me as well because I'd also hurt myself. So it was very, really, really good. The way teammates should be. But it's not always like, I mean, it's very rare that it's like that. You know, mostly you have a bit of friction. So I was quite lucky.
I think the best years, like the best teammates I've had, was when you had a guy, and 1 year ahead of a guy that was really good at practicing. So when we practiced, it was the intensity was like intense, and you're like, geez, this is insane. And then you go to the race, and they couldn't really perform under the pressure. So you get the best of both worlds, where you practice hard, but then when you got to the race, you were like normally like 5 or 6 positions ahead. That was good. That was always good. But I just find it hard, like, you know, like I've only been in the position like 3 or 4 times, but you know, like when you're racing your teammate to win a championship, and it's like, you know, there's going to be favorites every time, isn't there? And you just, I think I'm quite a good reader of situations and stuff. And as soon as I feel like someone's not in it for me, like I'm just so stubborn, I just become like an arsehole, and then the arsehole goes out of it, and then it's like, it's a big stress, you know. But
was there always guys? Was there any guys, not even particularly anyone you didn't get on with? Was there any guys that you always used to come together with out on track? It just seemed to be one of them riders that you always seem to come together with on track.
Yeah, there was this bloody South African dude, Bradshaw, that came over, and he
young star,
only me
trying to ride you off the track.
No, I had one person, and I guess anyone that knows, watch my career, Brian McKenzie, every single weekend for 5 years, every single moto. And it's quite cool. It's actually quite a cool story, because me and Brian really didn't like each other, but it's quite cool because we knew it. Like, we never tried to be friends. We took each other out as much as we could. And then it might have actually been like 18 months before we both kind of like stopped at that level. We were like, dude, became like good friends, you know, but it was just a respect thing. It wasn't like, you know, then once it all stops, like we message each other now, you know, like we bounce messages and we take the piss out of each other. And it was awesome to see him at Farley Castle again. But we went through a stage, and like that was the only person I needed to beat, dude. If he was finishing 12th, I needed to finish 11th. It didn't matter like where we were. And it was like, and then we got to the stage where like me and him were like podiuming every weekend. He was the guy that like those Red Bull championships I won, he was normally second in them, but we battled to the end. And it was such a good motivation, dude. Like I can remember training the off season, doing laps up and down the pool and thinking, I want to get out, but maybe if I get out, Brian McKenzie's going to beat me and I'm going to stay in the pool. It was a savage rivalry. And but I think it's so cool. Like we went like 4 or 5 years, like literally hating each other. And then just through racing together and the respect that we built for each other, and then to end it being friends. And like, I would say like, good. I would say good friends, actually. Like, I think I respect Brian probably more than most people I've ever raced with now.
Yeah, I remember him on the Kawasaki quite a bit, wasn't
Yeah, like he was always Kawasaki, and then
Mm.
I was always Honda. And then also like we both went the MX1 route, and he struggled a bit on the MX1. Then at the end he got good when he won the Cass Honda. He did good at some GPs, but I was always like a 5, 6, 7 guy in the MX1 class. And then when I went to MX2, I was always like top 3, and he did the same. So when he went to the MX2 class, he was a good little bike rider. And then, dude, like we were like, think about it, like every British, every Bridgestone, every Red Bull, every arena cross, like it was literally like a year-long slog of me and him just. And the mechanics, dude, I remember reading pit boards, like clean him out and all. And there's a modern action. I'm like, I want this guy to pass me right now. Like after they seen the pit board, I'm like, bring it on, dude. Let's go. You know,
That's quite interesting. You guys obviously see a lot of stuff that's written by the mechanics on the pit board, and they obviously say,
well, most of them put it
dodgy
out. Like,
shit,
the guys like 2 seconds back, most of them put it out just to kind of like make you stress at the dudes right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't read, to be fair, dude, I didn't even read my own one. At that beach race that I did, dude lap ordered me every single time, told me I was in second. I came off the track, thought I'd finished 5th, and was going back to the van. He's like, oh no, you got to go on the podium. I'm like, oh, I thought I finished 5th. He's, dude, I lapped every single lap. 38 laps, 2.5 hours. I told you you're in second place.
No, man. I always used to read my pit board. That was like my little, I used to look forward to that. That gives you a little bit of a, I don't know, support. I used to dig it.
Your pit boards obviously had different stuff to my pit boards, dude.
No, but hold on, Nevin. Lee, I may have told you this story. I can't remember where my mechanic Carl and Trevor wrote on the pit board. They put on the board, try harder or come in.
You know, see, if I saw something like that, I'd be in the next lap, dude.
No,
taking that, Trev, go for it, dude. Show me how that is. Then,
Nev, do you know what I did? As I was going down the straight, I just turned left and I went straight at them. I hit the fence where they were hanging over the fence. Was at Ernie. I hit the fence.
I remember this now. Yeah.
That's brilliant. And I literally shouted at them. I went, I was swearing at them, and I went, "Don't you ever say that to me again!" And I got up and carried on.
I tell you what, motocross is the easiest sport from the pit box, dude. It's the easiest sport in the world when you stand that pit box nice and warm with your coat on.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. Someone's just mentioned that as well earlier. That Mark mentioned, Coops, about you and Gordon Crockard challenging for the British Championships and stuff. Did you have a rivalry with him?
I had quite a big rivalry with Gordon for a couple of years. Yeah, it was really good. I'm not sure which one Mark's referring to. Maybe 2000, which is where I lost the championship when my big end broke. But we were sort of going head to head the whole season. It was a great year, and we had quite a cool rivalry because I actually. Before that final where we literally went into the last round 3 or 4 points apart from each other, and 2 weeks before that we were partying at the Ministry of Sound, like, you know, just like regular people, which was really cool.
I love that, Ministry of Sound. Someone's Vinny has just put, did either of you have a favourite track to practice on before outdoors or supercross? Mine was Milden Hall for outdoors and Ellsworth for the supercross.
Nev, you go.
So, geez, for me, supercross was Sheffield. Me and Coops actually spent some cool times in Sheffield.
Yeah, that's right. 2004.
Yeah, that's it. We spent some time down there at Sheffield, so that was supercross. And then, I don't know, like for the outdoors, like, I don't know, like at the start of the year, I used to, there's a track in Spain called Ronnie's. I'm sure everyone that's watching will know Ronnie's. I used to love Ronnie's. I put some good 40s in around Ronnie's. And then when I was riding in the UK, I'd say behind Carl Nunn, I've probably done the most laps around Milden Hall out of anyone ever alive. I was literally, Andy Lee was friends with Cliff Bastick, and organised me free practice days at Milden Hall. And I was there every Tuesday and every Thursday doing 30-minute motos. So Milden Hall was always good for me. And then back home in South Africa, I always had my favorite tracks in South Africa. In a way I love South Africa, and in a way I didn't, because you can literally do 40 minutes on the same second with your brain turned off. You know, like one of those, like you just get into a groove and that's it. Where what I like about England is every lap the track changes and you're really like thinking, you know, you're not just in overdrive mode. You're really thinking about what you're doing.
Coops?
Yeah, so for supercross, obviously it was quite tricky here that we were very limited, but in the early days we were quite lucky. Robbie Herring sort of helped me to ride at a track called Clive's, a guy called Clive Bussey, who's probably one of the biggest collectors of like sort of proper old factory bikes from back in the day, and he had a supercross track in his backyard. And he used to Robbie used to ride there, and because of me knowing Robbie, he introduced me to Clive, so I was allowed to go there too, and that was really good. But yeah, we were quite limited, so obviously with the rain and stuff, and it was terrible because our supercross season is always like November, December, January, and that's like the weather's the worst, so you'd end up riding muddy supercross to try and get ready, which was a bit crap. But for my outdoor practicing, definitely my out-and-out favorite is Lodge Farm, which I actually went to with Nev on Sunday. Yeah, and it's the first time I've been there since 2005. And that was my home ground. That's kind of where I did all my hard graft, because I used to go there on my own, just and pound out the laps, which was really good. And I also spent quite a bit of time at Ellsworth with Andy, because as Nev was talking about earlier about Andy helping with starts, he actually did the same for me too. I went through a period really battling with my starts, and Andy very kindly used to sort of take me to his start straight there, and we used to do just start practice for the whole day. Was just start practice, and so that was also very good for me, Ellsworth.
I'm just going to ask you a couple more questions, guys, if that's all right, before we go. I see us getting on now, aren't we? I'm just going to ask you both, if you could, I'd like to ask this one, if you could give advice to any youngster out there that's racing in the youth motocross now and that want to go pro, what would your advice be, starting with Nev?
I would say, like what I said earlier about the advice that Coops gave me, is enjoy the moment, because it doesn't last forever, and when it's gone, you can't get it back again. So really, me and Coops have this conversation about how we kind of wish we could go back to racing, but we kind of forget about the hard parts, and there was a lot of shit that went with it as well. But not like maybe 8 times out of 10, those are going to be the best days of your life, So really try to take it in and enjoy the journey that you're on. Save your money. You need it when you stop.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like, advice. It's tricky to give advice because it depends what's sort of going on in the youngster's mind. But motocross, I think it's one of the best sports. Obviously, I think this. I'm a bit biased, but one of the best sports in the world for so many different reasons. But if you're young and you want to be professional, you've got to remember that it is hard work. It's not just about the Instagram and the trick clothing and stuff, but at the same time, so you've got to be prepared to work really hard, but at the same time, you've got to make sure that you keep it fun. So that's like a really, really important thing. I help a young cyclist who wants to be professional, so I do all his training for him. Yep. And like it's quite, cycling's a lot trickier because there isn't the adrenaline side. Like with motocross, we're quite fortunate because it's physically very, very tough. But like Nev actually said this earlier, like there's this moment about the triathlons where it's just pain. Where motocross, there's a lot of pain involved because you're always at your limits, physically exerting. But you get that adrenaline of doing cool jumps. If you make a turn, if you do a turn really well, it's just such a great, rewarding feeling. And that's what's so great about the sport. But at the same time, it's just like this fine balance of enjoying all the good stuff, but remembering that if you want to be serious and be pro, you've got to work in the background, but make sure that you enjoy your time riding the bike. Because if you're not enjoying it, you're never going to be good. So I think that would be my advice: is work hard in the background, but just make sure that you love riding your bike. And if you don't love riding, then it's going to be a problem. So you've got to make sure that that's fun.
Last thing I was just going to ask you both about, it's come out in the media a little bit more lately, and I saw Zeb Tortelli was fronting it a little bit and stuff like that with the electric bike. What's both your thoughts on that?
Coos, you go first on that one.
Yeah, I must be honest, Lee. I actually don't. I don't because as you know, I don't really follow much on the social media side. So I don't actually know. I didn't even know that Tortelli was involved in that. I mean, look, it's the same as everything. It's progression, the way the world's going. I wouldn't discount it as being crap, because it's probably going to be the future.
He wants to.
So yeah, I mean, you've got to be open to that stuff. I mean, I wouldn't mind riding one to see what it's like. I mean, I've driven an electric car, and it's quite amazing because the power, it's quite instant. So I'm not quite sure how that would be on a motorbike. But it'd be pretty weird without the sound, I guess. But I don't know. I think you get used to that very quickly. I mean, I raced a couple of British championships with earphones in, listening to music, and it's amazing how quickly it just becomes part of what you do, and it's actually quite cool. So I think riding with no sound wouldn't be a problem as long as the bike performs.
Who was the American Nev? Have you seen it? Who's the American? I'm just trying to remember.
Josh Hill.
Yeah, Josh Hill. He was riding it.
It is impressive. Coops, Belpugue? They got the steps up the hill. Dude's hucking on an electric bike, dude.
Actually, I think you told me about that the other day.
I mean, like me personally, I think it's definitely the way it's going to go, and it's just inevitable. It's like a price increase at the minute, dude. With everything that's happening, it's going to happen. But and it's like the 4-stroke, dude. When the 4-stroke came out, it's the same thing, dude. Everyone, I hate 4-strokes, whatever. Now everyone rides them, and that is how it's going to be. But I don't know. It's just for me, like you watch him go through the whoops, and all you can hear is the linkage knocking.
It's like this weird whirring noise when it's
like our bikes are probably doing it. Like our bikes for sure, probably knocking like that, but you don't hear it because you've got a motor drowning out. But like I think like on the motocross side, we're very lucky that we're going to take the technology that they've made in the cars and the car racing. So we're going to start off with like a very developed product. But dude, like I don't know, like Coops, you saw how buzzed I was riding that old RM125 this weekend. I don't know if I'd be buzzed on an electric bike, dude, at all.
Well, depends if your lap times come down by 3 seconds. You'd be like, yeah.
Lap times don't matter to me. I'm front times over lap times now, my man.
Because they're quoting it as the most powerful bike and all that, Nev, as well. And obviously you can see the power of when that Josh is racing it. It looks so weird. No clutch and all that.
Even my little kids, when my kids have got these little electric bikes, and when the power comes in, they're savage, man.
But is he racing against 4-strokes?
No, so he actually did. They do like an event in America called like Straight Rhythm, where it's a straight line. They do loads of jumps. And he actually, this was going back like 5 years, dude. Like he was as quick as like the engine bikes back then, but now they've developed this new one with like a really good chassis.
Yeah.
Sebastian Tortelli, he kind of like been fronting it. But how much are they? Are they like 14 grand or something like that? It's ridiculous money, aren't they?
Yes, it is money. Yeah, it is something like that, isn't it?
But now, dude, Honda, Yamaha, everyone's going to get on board that, and it's inevitable. It's going to happen.
It's a shame about the cost aspect, because the same thing happened with 4-strokes. When 4-strokes came in, all of a sudden, your entry level to start riding motocross was up by 2.5 grand or whatever it was at the time. I mean, it was a massive jump, and then even the maintenance as well. So expensive, and that's, to me, that's the shame about it. But I suppose looking at it the other way, 4-strokes actually ruined a lot of tracks for us. A lot of tracks got closed because of the sound of 4-strokes.
Especially your 2005 CRF 450, my man.
That was it. But maybe the electric bikes will open things up and make it, that we can ride in more places. Maybe that's
That's what it's basically. That's what it's good for. Yeah. There is a means to it, isn't there? Someone's just put. Dick said that Knight rode the e-bike at a night race at the Tough One, apparently.
Jeez.
Is that David Knight, the enduro guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a dude that does freestyle as well, doing backflips and stuff on them. They definitely. It's like anything. You like a good motocross rider would be able to ride anything, I believe, and it's just
I agree.
It's the same thing, obviously the suspension and stuff's going to be a different setup with no torque going through the back wheel and stuff, but it's like anything that's just be time that you spend on it. And for sure for sure what they'll do, they'll enter within the next year or two. There'll be like a series within the GP series that's going to be electric series, and then that's going to be it within 3 years. It'll be.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it fascinates me because Formula E didn't take off the way I thought it would, because they start, it was Alain Prost, wasn't it, that fronted Formula E, I don't know, at least 10 years ago, and it's never. I actually thought they was going to overtake Formula One, but
oh, it's pretty big, dude. And even like MotoGP have got an E class that is like
really?
3 years and stuff. Yeah. No, it is.
I should watch TV every now and then, eh?
So, like, like, say, for example, like, someone that's raced and then stopped racing, that's quite cool because they get a deal to go do like another few seasons on an e-bike or whatever.
Yeah.
Where they can't get a deal in MotoGP, they'll be able to be at the front of that and still get like.
So what you're saying, Nev, is I can make a comeback.
Dude, I reckon you got a good 10 years left on your e-bikes. Get those left in that Lodge Farm and you'll be okay, son.
Yeah.
Probably fair now, Coops, than when you raced.
Well, maybe fitter, but I can't move so well.
Yeah. He just said because I remember him saying, didn't he, that this battery on the bike as well lasts is like same as a full tank of fuel, apparently. So
it'd be interesting to see, like, imagine those things cutting on takeoffs and stuff. There'll definitely be teething problems.
Scary, right? Yeah, it'd be scary. I wouldn't. Yeah, not sure scary. About that. Very scary. Appreciate your time, guys. Awesome to speak to you both.
Yep, thank you. It was very good.
Yep, thanks for having us. Yeah.
I'll keep in touch with you guys anyway. Hopefully see you all soon anyway at Track Summon. Hopefully Cooper in April. And I'll probably see you at one of these rounds, Nev. Hopefully Bridgestone or something.
Yeah, for sure, dude. We'll definitely hook up in the year. Be good.
Yeah. Take it easy, guys. Much appreciated for your time. Thank you. Thank you very much, boys. Cheers, boys. Take it easy. Bye. Thanks, mate. Cheers. Top guys, legends. Much appreciated, guys. I was going to get me black book out of booking in and all that, but it is like nearly 11 p.m. now. I think I'll knock that on my head. No tea yet, so I'll go and do that. I'll do a night soon where I'll keep you guys all up to date with the booking in and who's booked in. I think I'm at about 260 riders are booked in so far, which is amazing. In that it's not even a couple of weeks. Oh, and actually it's a couple of weeks today. Is it Wednesday today? It's Christmas, then you get blurred. Yeah, it's Wednesday, so it's been open 2 weeks, so wild chuffed. 260 riders are booked in so far, so hopefully we'll get that pushed on even further in the new year as well. That was an awesome chat there with Neville Bradshaw, and great to get the man Paul Cooper on as well. Always great to get Coops on as well. Come on with Nev, that's pretty cool. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it's a bit late, so thanks for all you guys that stayed on so late. We had a good time, had a good chat. We'll get this out there and hopefully get a load of people to make sure they get to see this. It was a cool night. So I'll speak to you all soon. Probably do a video soon. And like I said, I'll do all the who's booked in, how many spaces left now. I know both the novice groups now are full and the vets over 45 is full. I'll just do a quick rundown. I've already got like 3/4 of a Super Evo 125 gone. Got plenty of space in the Evo 125. The Evo Super Evo 250/500 is only got 6 spots left out of the 44, I believe. So that's nearly done. And like I said, both novices are now full, 44 in each. So that's 88. Great maths there. See that? Got an intermediate class, which one of my friends Kai said is like a senior class, as they call it. An intermediate class, which is any bike, so guys can go in that as well, and girls. Got 2 girls, 2 young ladies. Mr. Emma Huckerbridge is riding. I've got another one that's now booked in, so hopefully she was inspired by Emma. Hopefully we can get a few more ladies out there. Still got plenty okay at the moment in the modern MX1. And just over half of the MX2 modern's gone as well. So yeah, so you can message me on any social media. I've put my number out there a few times. If you can just text me, be appreciated. When I'm texting, I can message quite a few of you at once, but if I take a call, I'm pretty much screwed. So thank you everyone for coming on for tonight. I might do a live before Christmas, keeping you up to date with what's going on with the meeting and the reunion. and all the booking ins and who's booked in and all that sort of thing. So I know you guys like to see who's booked in and all that sort of stuff. So thank you very much, Mick. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Nicholas. Cheers, Elliot. I think I did give you a shout out, Elliot, with your MX bike trader in it. That's it. I always remember the trader part. He's got some sick bikes, Mr. Elliot. Thanks very much, buddy. Cheers, Leonard. Thanks for coming on, buddy. Good to catch up with your buddies on here. So yeah, I'll keep you up to date. Also, I've got a Mint Speedway interview. Most of you will probably remember I did one with John Davis, former rider in the 90s, 80s and 70s, won the World Cup with England. Great rider in the British League and all over the world, Mr. John Davis. I'm doing a New Year's Eve thing with him on the 1st of January, I believe, 7 p.m. UK time. I'm going to do that. So we can see the new year in with Mr. Davis, JD, as he's known. But it was one of the most viewed YouTube videos I ever did, even to now. So that was over a year ago. So we had some serious fun with Mr. John Davis. So you'll check that out. I'll advertise it in the next few days anyway, ready for the 1st of Jan. But 7 p.m. on the 1st of Jan. Hopefully most of you have slightly recovered from your New Year's Eve antics, and then you can chill in front of it and check that out. That'd be great fun. Trust me, John, obviously he's very straight with his words and what he says and what's what. So everyone enjoyed that last time a lot. So on popular demand, we're going to do a second part on that. So it's just over a year ago. And I believe last Christmas I did a boxing night with Neil Middleditch and Dennis Agarlos. And the Cobra himself as well. We got all them guys together. That was cool. But I'll keep you all updated on that. I will post that out. And like I said, I'll do a live video soon on the meeting. This is your life book out. And show you all who's booked in and all that sort of palaver. So take it all easy. I will probably speak to you before Christmas, but I will say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you all anyway. Can't miss the quote of my dad. It's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. So good night all. Have a good Christmas and New Year. I might get to speak to you all before then anyway. But thanks for everyone that tuned in tonight. Much appreciated. Top man, Neville Bradshaw and Paul Cooper, proper legends. And great to speak to him. Check it out, and I'll put it all out there later on. Check it all out. Cheers, guys. Thanks for coming on.